There we go. God, that confused me. And Silos is splaying the. I can't talk today, Sean. I want to listen to my favorite album. Funny Shapes. Can't even remember how I fucked it up now. What did I say?
You said The Shape of Sound.
The Shape of Sound?
Which admittedly does make more sense as an album title, but it is not correct.
It is not correct. It is a great album, though.
I'm glad you're liking it. I listen to The Shape of Color at least once a week for like a year back, like, I don't know, 10 years ago or something.
The space of pigment. I called it the sound of color, Sean. On purpose.
You didn't, though. I mean, maybe you did this time, but welcome to the stream, everybody. I don't know what we're doing here.
Welcome to the stream, everyone. I'm your host, Isaac MCCanary, and we're learning to form myself a 1 meter after spieling to my alien bird shaman uncle.
I do want to form myself a 1 meter.
Yourself.
Hi, my name is Sean, also known as the Talking Skull, he, him, and I learning to form my seated ball after speaking to my alien bird shaman uncle.
And this is absolutely the most chozo thing out of these, and I fucking love it. I feel like we're gonna run into this tonight. I think we're gonna
meet furry and has human feet, so I don't like him.
How dare you? That's the alien part of this alien bird with the bird
part. That is the fact that he has human feet.
Human feet and fur.
It don't look like feathers. It look like fur.
That's it. I mean, is that not the Isn't that I could see a Chozo statue that looks like this. I could
see
one
what I was
that
remarking
looks like
on
this.
Before stream. Is it's remarkable how many of these have something very close to the Chozo like crouching pose, despite that not having been in your prompt in any form.
Listen, what else is it gonna play? Fucking Being's just like alien bird shaman uncle, alien bird shaman uncle. Just keep on getting pictures of Metroid.
Look, I do like the head on the little tiny bird though.
Oh yeah,
that's an interesting nugget.
That's it.
I don't know what's happening here, but yeah.
It's me learning to become the ball. You learning to become the ball.
Part of the process. It's step by step.
I like just this one because it's really visceral.
Mm-hmm.
It also like just replace his head with a bird, though his beard is kind of bird beak shaped. He's kind of bird shaped.
A bit of a beak bird. It's interesting that he has what appears to be some sort of familiar, or at least pet, chained by the neck to his own neck.
Yeah, that's fucking wild.
That's a bizarre way to connect to your animal.
Sean, if I ever play a warlock, this is exactly what they're gonna look like.
Warlocks don't get familiars.
They don't?
No, wizards do. I mean, I don't know a good GM who would deny you a pet bird, though.
I was gonna say, I was like, 1, that, and 2, I played a wizard. I definitely didn't have a familiar, but I guess I just didn't play a wizard with a familiar, but...
I think it's optional in 5e.
Oh, that's fair. Oh my god, was it not optional at one point?
It was a class feature. You just got a familiar.
Oh, well shit. That's wild to me. And it's wild to me that Warlock doesn't have a familiar as, if not an option, or if not required, an option.
It might be an option, because I think Find Familiar is just a spell you can take in 5e, so it might be on the Warlock spell list. But it's a classically wizard thing in D&D to have a familiar.
That's fair. This one, too. This is like the Chozo turning into a ball. Like, this one even has the ball in his hands!
Mm-hmm. He's becoming one with it.
Uh-huh. This is a Chozo statue.
This just is a Chozo statue, absolutely.
Learning to form my Seth ball after speaking alien bird Shaman Uncle. It really knows how to say alien bird shaman uncle. That's like the most clarity Bing has ever had.
I wonder if it's something to do with the all caps. Because you put alien bird shaman uncle in all caps.
Want to read this one? I like this one too. This may be the most...
This is to form myself, and at bulk me, I unseal after speaking to my alien bird shaman.
How did it get unseal and shammed?
I mean, sham is clearly a bastardization of shaman.
Of course, but God shammed it.
God shammed it.
God shammed it.
God sham you right to hell.
That's what I say to you every day, Sean.
I did really enjoy the gobbledygook in that first stanza, though. That was satisfying.
Learning.
It felt like speaking backwards.
Self, ma'am. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. I like all these, I like all the misshapen things on the ground. This looks like something, like one of the little orbs you'd break to get something in it. That has an ability in there. It definitely does. Yeah, these were, Bing
was a good Bing today.
Bing was a good Bing today. We always appreciate Bing. Bing is a good Bing. Bing has my back, I think. Bing might not have my back. Bing
definitely doesn't have your back.
I was gonna say, Bing might not have my back, but I have Bing's back. Maybe.
Look, you had art on the internet circa 2022, so Bing did steal your work for its learning data set.
What the hell? Hold on. This is gonna bug me. Why is this? I'm just... Nope.
ChatGPT 0.
We're just gonna do that. We're gonna do that. Maybe. This never happens, guys. This never happens. Where's my controller? What's my controller doing, guys?
What's happening to me? I was an Oscar Omega blow. ChatGPT O? Is this a PTO? Oh, it's a real thing. Okay, interesting.
Oh, is there a new... Because I know there was a lot of AIs coming out recently, like within the last 3 years. AI software has kind of exploded, wouldn't you say, in like the last 3 years? I mean, I feel like it's always actually been way more prevalent than people realized, even I realized, but certainly it's become mainstream by this point.
Yeah, I didn't realize so apparently this is like an iteration on ChatGPT 4. I didn't realize there was something after GPT 4.
Shit. I don't even know what GPT-4 is.
It's the one after GPT-3.
Well, I mean, I can count, Sean.
GPT-3 is the one that got famous. GPT-4 was the one they made after that that's like a lot more accurate.
Gotcha.
That was the big thing with GPT-4 is that like GPT-3 was infamous for just completely like anything it said was like more likely untrue than true.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's not good.
But GPT-4, they made big strides on improving its ability to figure out how to say things that are probably true.
Oh, well that's good. Instead of just blatantly lying? It actually
it'll still just blatantly lie, but...
Oh, okay.
But it's a lot less likely to. Well, because the whole thing with machine learning language models is that, like, they don't know things. Like, they don't have information. They're just putting words together in a way that makes sense. So ChatGPT-3 is when they got it to reliably put words together in a way that made sense. But that doesn't mean anything it said meant anything or was true.
Right.
And GPT-4, they were like, we really made sure that it tried to say true things.
But you don't like You don't like lying, Sean? You don't think lying is good?
I love lying, but
famously.
there's a time and a place. Transformers. Yeah, the machine learning language models you see are all people pleasers, as Silo says. They just want to say something that confirms what you already wanted to hear, and that sounds to you like it is a sentence.
Is a sentence, would be what you want to hear, is at least somewhat factually true. Well, maybe factually
plausible.
Yeah. Factually charged. Maybe it's at least factually
charged.
Hey, you can send that to me.
Sure. But yeah, I didn't know about GPT 4.0, so that's interesting. I'll have to look into that.
Wow, moderate mechanical activity indicates machine is still active. No? No, machine is still active.
I mean, it sure seems active.
I want to imagine that this is like just a space heater. It looks like a space heater.
A space heater, just like a space heater.
Fucking puns have been bad recently. God. I'm not even, I'm culpable, you know? Like, I had my real bad one. The one that got me with the Twitter one is that was totally on accident. My brain incepted that. I was not at all trying to make that kind of joke. It just wrote itself. I don't know where it came from. I think Bezos, not Bezos. What the fuck is wrong?
Bezos.
Yeah.
Bezos was doing some reverse psychology marketing.
No, what can I think of the man himself? Muskrat, yeah, I think Muskrat infected my brain somehow. I have been spending more time on Twitter recently, which is maybe not a good thing.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm trying to avoid engaging with it more than just try to let the internet know I exist. That's it, I swear.
I mean, letting the internet know you exist is good, but spending time on Twitter implies a lot more than what is required to make a post every day or two.
Yeah, that's fair. Listen, I see, like, the person, maybe a streamer, maybe like Sarah. Just see what they post. I respond to it every now and then, you know?
Sure. That sounds healthy.
The path of corruption leads and higher.
That's true. That's factually charged.
This stream is factually charged. The stream is also featuring Henry.
Welcome, Henry.
He's just Henry? What up, buddy? He's just at the gate, whining at me. I don't know why. Hi, Henry. Ow.
He just wants to be loved.
Does he deserve it? Oh, he's a good boy. Wow. Why do these look different? No, they don't look different. I've just never seen them like this. I've never gotten this close before, Sean.
It is surprising that they haven't aggroed.
Maybe I could speak to these creatures.
Perhaps. Well,
sorry.
The world may never know.
Samus is a silent protagonist. This is what you get when you don't give your character a voice.
When all you have is a gun, everything looks like a bullet. There's not like a universal word for the thing that you shoot. A target, I guess.
Yeah, a target. A target. I was gonna say enemy is pretty universal. Pretty sure every language has a word for enemy.
Yeah, but enemy, like, you shoot things that aren't enemies sometimes. You just shot a door just then. Is a door your enemy?
I mean, maybe for Samus, we'll never know. She never speaks. Maybe she hates every door she shoots.
Yeah, she doesn't know anything about, like, this whole lock and key system. She just has an ancient grudge against doors that she needs to vent out every time she sees one.
It's what her bird parents taught her, is that the only way to open a door is with force. It's how their technology works. You get out her aggression to be a more level-headed member of society.
Mm-hmm. And God help you if you happen to be walking through a door that she's just spotted.
Well, see, they've got knockers for that.
You have to announce your presence anytime you're going through a door.
Exactly. Have a no, that language has an entire word. It has an entire word for when they're going to go in through a door, which is more or less just a scream, honestly. Mm-hmm. Really, what else are words?
Well, it's
but just
maximum volume so that they can, whoever's on the other side will be sure to notice.
Exactly.
Guns are long range. You don't know how far away that person could be.
Mated parasite.
Hardy member of the parasite family, invulnerable to most weaponry. A cousin to the parasite, these creatures are known for their amazing resilience. Field studies suggest a weakness to morph ball delivered weapon systems. Why would the delivery system be the relevant portion of that?
I do not know. Oh boy, that's a lot of beetles. Oh geez, that's a lot of beetles, Sean.
The implication of that codec entry was that you could kill that thing with like a fork and a spoon as long as the fork and the spoon was sticking out of a morph ball.
Yeah. Listen, they're weak to anything morph ball related, Sean. They're vulnerable to it.
Mm-hmm. Just the sight of a morph ball makes them just all queasy.
Now, Sean, do you have your window?
I do. I prepared. I'm ready.
I'm excited because we're back to the Chozo area, so that means we're gonna get a lot. And I want to know how it's different. The cries of this dying land pulled us from our dreaming state, and now we Chozo walk as ghosts while the great poison sinks waters, devouring all life. Some creatures survive, but their forms grow as twisted force that fell from the sky. The heart of the planet will succumb soon, and so will we, even in our ghostly state. Already many Chozo have faded and passed into the unknown. Great poison is unlike anything we have glimpsed, this or any. It relentlessly, worming out of life wherever. It eats relentlessly, worming out of life wherever it brooms. My tongue. It eats relentlessly, worming out of life wherever it blooms, and corrupting what it cannot. It will be our undoing. Our last hope lies in the cradle. The temple we hope might contain this abomination. It is almost complete, hovering over the impact site, dark heart of the spreading evil. We can finish before the last of our kind drifts into madness, death. There is a chance for this world. If we fail.
Okay.
Good.
Now, for context, for what I'm about to read, chat, if you were not here last time we did this, we're playing the GameCube version of Metroid Prime. For the Wii release for the Metroid Prime trilogy, they rewrote all of the Chozo entries. So this is the... Yeah, for some reason. So this is the version of that entry that was on the Wii. None know if our temple, the Cradle, will prove powerful enough to contain this evil forever. For now, it wraps around that abomination, cutting it off from the world above. However, we believe the power, or cipher, which has been produced by linking the 12 artifacts, should be strong enough. Fate of this world is now left to the one who will collect all the artifacts in the future. Time when the entrusted one knows is approaching.
Hey Sean, did you know there were 12 artifacts in this game? Guys, they just really wanted to make sure that you understood there were 12 artifacts that you would need to find instead of an incredibly good textural feeling about how the Chozo are fading from reality. Wow! Oh, such a good replacement. I'm not mad, Sean.
I at least understand the logic of this change, even if I don't agree with it. Because
Oh?
Well, because a lot of the stuff about the artifacts is like at the temple, which is missable.
Yeah.
So like technically, this does give you another place in the game to learn that that is a thing you should be doing. I don't necessarily agree with this change, but I at least can understand the logic behind it.
Gotcha. Still, God, that one once again, it's so much better.
It's way less flavorful in the Wii version. Yeah, and that's been consistent across all of these we've read. It's like they took really well-written. Welcome. We're complaining about the changes to the lore in the Wii version.
And we're playing the Prime version, because apparently Sean never actually played the Prime version, which I didn't know was fundamentally different.
Yeah,
I played both.
It's been consistent in all of the ones we've read that they took interesting, really textural stuff that had a lot of, like, cultural information or just a lot of really compelling writing in the original and replaced it with just, like, very simple, bare bones mechanical text that tells you some information or like overly reinforces things that really don't matter and lose a lot of the texture and the personality of the original. And that one I feel like is a perfect example, because I do think there's value in giving the player another opportunity to learn about the 12 artifacts if they missed the temple, but they still did it in a way that makes the text super boring to read.
Yeah, agreed. I don't want to go through that yet. There are things, but yes, I absolutely agree, and I did not realize that, because I was like, when I like shared my copy of Metroid Prime Trilogy, I was just like, yeah, the Metroid Prime Trilogy is good, because I feel like the controls actually feel really, really good, and it's what I wanted out of Metroid Prime 3, which is the like tone and the controller feel of Metroid Prime 1 in 3, and 3 doesn't have that for me. 3 is kind of a letdown for me for that. But I didn't realize that Sean just got fundamentally kind of a worse game because of that, lore-wise, and I think, yeah, I would have rather you experience this, Sean. It's so much better.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it amazes me that people don't talk about this more with relation to this game, though. Like, this is a popular game, and these are not small changes that they made. Yeah. I would think that the fans would be outraged.
I am outraged, Sean. I'm outraged now. And I mean, I think there's enough press on it that I just forgot. I'm just a bad fan, as has been made clear every
Yeah, but like like people talk about Metroid Prime. It's not like this game is some like niche hidden gem, and like I've never heard of this before. This isn't part of the like public consciousness surrounding this game at all.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
You can read them, because I'll be reading the updated versions.
Gotcha. A second plague has come upon the land, dousing the last flickering hopes of our race, drawn by the very force we chose. A host of marauding creatures descended from space, invaded our temple, Cradle. They try in vain to destroy it, but its power remains beyond them for now. They possess some of the 12 artifacts. We call the cipher, yet do not comprehend their function. Ignorant creatures, they are ignorant creatures. They are blinded by delusions of harnessing the power. Really can't read today. I'm sorry. The link between reality and the beyond is very faint for me today. I've got a cold.
Chief, that is a really good question. I'm guessing the Wii version, because the Wii version is the one that's considered canon.
Right.
So the one that, in our opinion, is vastly inferior is the one that's in the remaster, almost certainly.
Outside. He wants some attention. I don't know what his deal is. You gotta go
So you need to take a pee and poop?
I need to go take a puke. Good news is I just have to step away and then come back in like 2 seconds. Let me Okay, I'll go. 1 second, Henry, you goober. Okay, I'll be right
take care
back.
of your dog.
Yes. What's my dog? Come on, Henry. What?
It's his dog. Don't let him convince you that it's not his dog. Yeah, I originally played the Wii version, and it's funny because I remember really enjoying the like cultural archaeology aspect of this game, but not getting a lot out of the culture itself, just liking the way that it is implemented in gameplay with, looking through all of the environments and, scanning stuff. Like, I thought it was fun to engage with. But little did I know that there really is really interesting, like, texture to the culture here in the original. I just didn't get to see it.
Yeah. So really, then no spoilers. Sean's getting the full Chozo makeover, and he technically hasn't seen the end of the game, which I think you'll find a treat. I've always loved the end of this game. It has one of my favorite ending sequences out of a game and out of the Metroid game. The ending sequence being the entire end area and boss. It's great. Ignorant creatures. They are blinded by delusions of harnessing the great poison for their own designs. They walk about as masters of the planet, assimilating the ruins of our sanctuary into their experience. Can but watch our doom.
So, that praise that I gave, that one small element of praise I was able to give the Wii version earlier is invalidated by that log, where they do actually reference the 12 artifacts, so actually there's just no reason to have changed that other one, because it already had the information here.
Yup. And is it the same? So is it the same in the Wii version, or?
Nope, they changed it. I was just pointing out, because I had said earlier, like, I at least understood the logic of changing that previous entry, but I don't actually, because the information that they added was already here.
Yup,
so
in this room.
Here's what they changed this to, and you'll notice right away there's a particular thing here that they're putting emphasis on that has annoyed me repeatedly in the past that they do again here. So here's what this log has changed to in the Wii version. To the entrusted one. If you read these words, then our hope has not been in vain. Your path is fraught with danger. Monstrosities beyond description lurk in the shadows, starving, hunting for prey, searching for ways to quench the poisonous urges that bloom in their brains. Some of these are shrewd, but they are blinded by their evil designs. Believing in the black promise of the great poison, they seek to harness it for their own ends. It is these last that are the greatest danger. When you rid the universe of these creatures, you will be the true entrusted one.
Holy shit, we got the diametric opposite of these creatures, Sean! They read that review! I'm sorry. Are you mad at me? Don't be mad at me. Why are you mad at me? You should find this funny too. They called them these creatures. Listen, this game read that review and said, you don't want to speak to these creatures. Destroy these creatures. I can't help it. But yeah, so, I mean, it's not really that different, but it's also just more violent.
It's more violent, and it's more like speaking directly to Samus, which is something they don't do in the original. Like, yeah. They make veiled references to the existence of something that will show up in the future, but like the Wii version really hammers the whole Chosen One storyline in your face every single chance they get.
Also, I'll be right back, because I think yep, Henry wants back in now, and if he makes any more noise, I'll just have to ignore him, the little baby. Hey.
Well, Chief, I'm glad that we could, I'm glad we're doing this little experiment, because, like I said, I feel like this doesn't get talked about enough. I feel like most people don't know about this. I sure didn't.
What's funny is I was reminded about this, I feel like. The more we talk about it, I think because I streamed this a long time ago, like, on my own, and I think it got brought up in one of my streams, and I was like, what the fuck? And I didn't quite look into it as deeply as we are today, and I'm really glad that we are. That's why I'm like, I'm almost glad we're doing Metroid Prime now this way, because it's even more, like, ingrained, and we're getting way more in-depth with a lot of the differences, and maybe having our own vastly bizarre archaeological dig of our own.
Absolutely, it's very meta, but I'm enjoying it a lot.
Yeah, it's what, if anything, gives us a nice little nugget to definitely gives me a nugget to appreciate Metroid Prime even more, that this is something you can, like, dig into and be like, this is weird and interesting, and also play the original.
Yes.
Play the original. The lore is... And it... I believe we agree, like, for whatever reason, it's only the Chozo that are affected. As far as we know, the Space Pirates aren't affected at all. They have the exact same logs.
No, I don't think that's true. I think they're changed somewhat. They just don't have as much lore.
That's fair.
Like, there's not as much to change about the pirates, but there is some difference with the pirates.
The hatchling walks among us. Are these dreams, memories, foretellings? Time and reality swirl together like estuary waters, and we Chozo know not what to believe. She appears as ghost-like as the Chozo, but at times the mists clear. She sees her wounded eyes, and remember the child we found so long ago. What has she become? This clad in Chozo armor, wielding weapons our hands once held, does she dream of the Chozo as we once were? Does she long for her parents, lost to the same creatures that even now defile our sacred home? Does she still live? And people say Samus doesn't get character. God fucking damn it.
Okay, this one I'm having trouble with. This is another one that, at least by name, doesn't exist in the Wii version, so I need to figure out what it was replaced with.
Oh, fun. You gotta love that. They don't want to make this archaeological dig at least easy, Sean. That's for damn sure. And also, how dare you, Silos? Samus's parents are dead? And I'm not sure why you would long for them. That's odd. They're dead. Monster.
The station worm hatchling's shell.
That's so weird. What's funny is I feel like you were like, this one is an exception because it doesn't have a corresponding one, and then it's felt like that has happened consistently, actually. It has felt like that has happened consistently for like the last few.
There's a lot of them, yeah.
Yeah. Just changed them so much. It's so weird. Also, I like the way that one references Samus, because again, it really speaks to the Chozo still being present, but present in a metaphysical way that is like kind of affirming to like a science fiction-y thing of like spirituality, but from this like science fiction alien standpoint, not from a like purely religious standpoint. It makes them bizarrely ethereal in a way that is way more tangible and spooky.
Okay, I'm realizing that there's been such fuckery here.
Oh god.
So in the original, this area is called the Crossway.
Yes.
And in the original, there are 3 logs here.
They did.
But So the cradle that we read earlier, where it talks about the cradle, containing the spread of the great evil, all that.
Right.
They moved that one here. So I don't know what is in. I would have to do some digging to find out what they put in its place.
Oh my god, that's awful.
And I don't know which of them that is supposed to be here they took out to put the cradle there.
I know we're
but
doing
it's
this.
Seemingly the one we just read.
I know we're doing this live, but to a certain extent, Sean, if you don't do it, I'm about to make an entire video comparing every single log in Metroid Prime for the Chozo back to back to like make a dissection video about how much better written the original is and what is important about the writing in the original, because god damn it.
Yeah, it's... If nothing, I wish I had made a diagram, because I consistently underestimate how hard this will be, because they shift things around and replace them and like rename things, so sometimes it's just genuinely hard to figure out what actually got replaced with what.
Right. And as far as I can tell, none of them are like actually the same either. They're all different.
They're all different. Every single one is different.
That's insane.
So yeah, that one we just read, there is not a... That one doesn't exist anymore. It's been replaced with something, I just don't know what.
Gotcha. The prophecies tell of the coming of the worm, born from parasites, nurtured in a poisoned womb. The worm grows, devouring from within until the world begins to rot. The words of the seers have come to pass, for there, in the depths of the world, the ravenous worm lurks and feeds. From the stars it came, lighting Talon with its great poison. We can but watch as the worm grows, watch and wait. For the prophecies also speak of a great defender, the one who delivers the world from evil. The final days draw near, the newborn, the defender, of which the seer. We shall do all that we can to aid her, for she bears our legacy as she bears the ancient armor and weapons of our people. I love the way they talk about the final boss of this game. He sounds so scary, and he should be.
Now this is how that log entry goes in the Wii version. Many Chozo are gifted with the distant sight, and even more begin to learn it as our harmonization with the universe becomes more and more complete. We peer forward, seeing prophecy in the ripples of the water, hearing rumors of coming days on the breath of the wind. Though we celebrate the distant sight, many of these visions are dark. The worst of the prophecies, and the most common, tells of the coming of the worm. Born from parasites, nurtured in a poisoned womb, the worm grows, devouring from within until the world begins to rot. Not all prophecies come to pass, of course, but we cannot help but fear this dark portent.
Huh.
I don't mind that one. That one's actually kind of good.
I don't mind that
I
one.
would say it's interchangeable with the original, so it's weird that they changed it. But at least it's not a downgrade.
Right. Also, on top of it, it just straight up does still utilize... that sentence about the worm devouring within was the exact same sentence. They just used the exact same sentence there, and then restructured parts of the log. Like, it. But otherwise, yeah, no, it's still like... It's still solid. I think it's still good. Like, it kind of captures more what the original does with most, if not more, or most, if not all, of the logs so far. Like, I feel like that's a big distinguishing factor, is how much the differing facets of the original and the rewrite in the Wii version, just a lot of them either outright change it, or in this case, maybe the first case we've seen, which is still surprising to me, don't really change. Oh, I thought this was. I assumed that was another path. My bad. Okay, we can proceed.
I will say, as much as I want to give the Wii version credit for actually doing a good job with that entry, even though again the changes are really baffling because it's the same exact. It's the same exact stuff they're saying. They've just chosen to reword it in a different way, and I'm not sure why.
Right.
But I will say, as much as I want to give it credit, I do have to point out that the effect is significantly weakened by the fact that in the original, they reference the worm in a lot of other lore entries, whereas in the Wii version, that one lore entry is the only one that talks about the worm. It isn't mentioned in any other log entry in the Wii version. So the effect is a lot less, because in this version, there's like 3 different ones that reference the worm. Mm-hmm. So you get this sense, like, over the course of the game, you keep hearing about the worm, you get the verb worming used in reference to the Great Poison, like, that sticks in your mind, and it becomes a motif that you carry with you in a way that the Wii version just doesn't have. Which, I don't know, maybe people will think that's nitpicking, but, like, it is still a way in which the original, like, built something that the Wii version just kind of took out for no clear reason.
Seemingly. Also identified as a statue of the Chozo Elder. According to Chozo lore, these statues served as the watchful guardians of 2 shrines. And also, thanks for following, Chief. I'm glad you're enjoying this. I'm glad. I care about this game a lot, so it's one of my favorites of all time.
One of my favorites.
Outstretched hands are empty, as if waiting an offering.
Oh, I'll give you a fucking offering.
Oh, Jesus. Hey, Sean, apparently I lied. Actually, I really like this as a piece of environmental storytelling that I picked on. Look! They don't shoot all their doors. They have doorknobs.
Samus is just illiterate.
Yeah. Illiterate and a mute.
What a life she lives.
Uh-huh.
What must it be to see what she sees?
What must it be like to destroy these creatures?
If only we could ignore these creatures.
Uh-huh. Speaking of ignoring these creatures.
Your pets?
Are they making further sounds upon my...
I heard Leon earlier.
Yeah, I heard him. Whoa! That was a good shot. I totally meant to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Easy. I love the Chozo ghosts. They're so fucking scary.
Cool. I also like the statue. Looks cool.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw in that previous room, but I didn't realize even this room has, like, minor entries that are just, like, flavor text. That are, like, runes that you can read.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these are good. They're subtle, too. The Great Poison corrupts all, even the Chozo. That's another thing, is, like, the Chozo aren't infallible either in this setting. They're, like...
Oh, and the worm's back!
Yeah, and the Holder of the 12 shall face the worm. Like, it's... I don't know if that's the same in the Wii version, but... The fact that it's only mentioned once in the main, and I don't expect you to look that up, but the fact that it's only mentioned once in multiple Chozo lore entries? What? It's like an important thing for, like, setting building and tone.
Mm-hmm. Oh shit, I need to pay attention.
More and more, our tormented minds turn to the newborn. As the world continues to shift into brutal, disconnected images, she remains inarguably real. A fearless figure delving deeper into the blighted world, unmindful of the terrors that await her. Was she this way before? When we Chozo found her, a fledgling orphaned on a savaged planet, did a warrior pulse already beat in her veins, filling her with righteous fury? Our hopes lie within her. We leave these messages for her, that she may find our artifacts and deliver the world from its evil. Wraiths we may be, but our reach is all indeed. We shall fight the invaders and the poison they will master. I also like this insinuation that, like, they make it clear that, like, they have some kind of warped or altered perception of, like, reality, and that ultimately they aren't, like, speaking in past or future tense. They're not really seeing even in, like, you know, the traditional sense of the seeing. Also, it's the silliest thing to me.
You're bowling.
The almighty
bowling with Chozo.
The almighty, this is how they do it. It's a ritual.
Okay, so, this is interesting. So this one got replaced with a differently named entry, but it is the same spot and it is similar. It's interesting that they even renamed it. So this one, the one you read is called Hope, and it was replaced with one called Shapeless. Things bound to earthly shapes are temporal and frail. Existing in a single dimension, they are fragile, vulnerable, and ultimately mortal. However, not all things obey this law. Shapeless, they wait beyond the realm of perception, emerging only when one arrives who can feel their presence. Such is the will of the Chozo. Our will to defeat the evil seeping into this planet remains. We desire only to see the darkness meet its end. The will of the Chozo has no mind or reasoning of its own, though. This will be the Entrusted One's trial.
Yeah, actually,
so I know how I feel about this. How do you feel about that one?
I don't mind that one. I liked the, like, flavor text at the beginning quite a bit, actually. Like, I do like that about it. That's, like, feels more like this version of the game's lore than anything that we've read so far from the Wii version.
So, I agree with you that I think that it is well written in terms of the prose. I really like the prose in the Wii version here.
Yes.
However, it does fall into the same category for me as a lot of these Wii version ones, where it changes the characterization of the Chozo. Because just like you were saying, in the original version, they have this, like, sort of scientific, weird, like, relationship with time that they've, like, discussed in previous entries, right? Where they have, like, some weird way of peering into the future and seeing time as, like, a flat thing. And so they have this analytical approach to time and to prophecy that is really unique.
Yeah.
But the Wii version consistently replaces that with just, like, generic spiritualism, which on its own is fine. Like, spiritualism in fantasy games is, like, everywhere.
Fantasy and
that's exactly the thing, is that, like, it's much more generic, and it's a different characterization of the Chozo. So, like, they come off very differently in the Wii version, when in the original, they're a pretty unique, like, it's hard to come up with something to even compare the original Chozo to in terms of the way they're presented. Yeah. And they're much more generic in the Wii version.
Yeah. They just come off as kind of space hippies in the in the Wii version, and in this they have a much more complex relationship with both their own culture and their environment, and the way that they're, like, even perceiving certain elements of the things that, like, you're engaging with directly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they just have a much more nuanced, much more flavorful interpretation of, like, their embodiment of, like, the environment and everything, which is a shame that they lose that.
But to your point, I do think that
I do think this is one of the better Wii ones.
Yeah, I think it's one of the better Wii ones. I think the prose in this one is really good, because that's something the Wii version has struggled with, is that a lot of the times the Wii log entries have just been really sort of mechanical and just, like, straightforward, and just, like, say the thing that the player needs to know, and then no further thought. But this one was at least some very pretty prose.
What I find a little bit ironic in that, like, kind of sense is, you know, how much they were like, oh man, maybe they had some kind of weird feedback about how people either didn't, like, get it or were like, the fucking Chozo lore didn't say anything important. And I'm sitting here like, it doesn't need to say anything important, actually. I like that it's weird and cryptic and super dense. Like, I like that about it.
I mean, it's not like you need that much, like, gameplay information from the Chozo. It's not like there's a traditional plot here that you're missing by not understanding what's happening with the Chozo lore.
Yeah.
God forbid that there be a smart story, or at least, like, a story that you have to really, like, sink your teeth into in a video game.
Right. Especially regarding this, what is dead alien race. Like, this is why, for me, the Chozo have always been my favorite example of this kind of, like, ultra technologically advanced dead species is how they are handled in this game specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even realize it. I knew it.
Anybody who enjoys that aspect of this game, by the way, should very much read Ender's Game and Speaker for the Dead, because
yes.
they are my favorite books, and they are very much a similar kind of narrative. Especially Speaker for the Dead is all about, or largely about, trying to trying to speak with these creatures.
Yes. Trying to speak with these creatures just due to the fundamental differences of culture and, like, just organism level of understanding of things. That's what I love about Speaker for the Dead so much, is so much of it is, like, all of the actual, like, problems that come up are more than anything else, a difference in perception in what life should be between things like the piggies and humanity and stuff. And I think that's super fascinating. Like, their just perception of how life should go fundamentally is different because they're fundamentally different creatures. Do not experience life at all the same way, and it's fascinating. Yeah, no, I totally agree. And Speaker for the Dead is still probably my favorite science fiction book I've read. Certainly my favorite science fiction book regarding, like, alien life forms that I've read. And very much, as I've mentioned in previous streams, there has to be a feeling like, you know, whoever the writers were for this game, if they weren't reading any, like, because how old is Speaker for the Dead? Speaker for the Dead's pretty old.
It's quite old, yeah.
Yeah. When did it come out? I don't actually know.
To Google, 1986.
Yeah. Mayhaps not contemporary with Metroid Prime, John.
No.
Maybe
I thought
a
it would
little
have
bit.
been 90s, but no,
I thought it was
86.
Yeah, that's impressively old too, I would say. That's also, I got Ice Beam, which has my favorite hand formation to make it, which is just the rock on. That's how you make ice, is you make the rock on horns. I do love that the little symbols in the right are, like, also, it's not even so much that she just chooses, like, she doesn't just choose a different beam, she chooses, like, a different hand formation to make the beams. I love that.
She was playing Just Dance before anyone else was.
It's important. That's how you get. And now I can only just imagine freaking god-awful Just Dance Nintendo where Samus just had really poorly mocapped Samus to, I don't know, an Ariana Grande song.
But can you imagine even more poorly mocapped Mario?
Oh man, I want it though,
Imagine your lanky ass limbs being mapped to Mario's body.
Fuck. Yes.
So speaking of science fiction books.
Oh yeah, you've been on a kick.
I have been reading a bunch of books recently, and I'm here to rescind a recommendation that I had made earlier this week.
It didn't get bad, did it?
So, I have been reading this week, You're getting your shit kind of wrecked.
I'm fine. Look at how many fucking energy tanks I have.
You do have tons of energy tanks. I have been reading this week The Andromeda Strain by Michael Crichton. And for those who don't know, Michael Crichton is the author of Jurassic Park, which I have always liked. It is a good book. And Andromeda Strain is one of his other, like... I'll do that.
Huh?
Go ahead.
Oh, this crate appears to be the same type of container found on Space Pirate Research Frigate. Material seeping out from the ruptured metal is highly toxic. Analysis indicates that this may be the Phazon compound the space pirates were using in their biological experiments.
So, the Andromeda Strain, and I sense that Silos is perhaps a fan, is like his breakout hit book.
That I didn't know.
And at first I really liked it. The first few chapters of the Andromeda Strain are phenomenal. Basically, the premise is that something lands from space onto Earth, like nearby a small town, and kills basically everyone in the town, but not from impact. It like lands far enough away that they're safe. They just then die mysteriously afterward. And the story is about a group of scientists who are commissioned by the government to investigate and figure out what the hell it is and how it kills and what to do about it. Which is an awesome concept. It's basically Lovecraft's Color Out of Space, but with a less of a horror bent and more of a sci-fi bent, which I'm way into.
Yeah.
But there are two major problems with the book that ultimately make it a tough recommendation for me, and I lean toward not recommending it, I think. The first problem is that he gets so lost in the weeds explaining irrelevant setting details. Like, I swear to bejesus, he spends 50 pages outlining in extreme detail the containment procedure at this fictional facility, and it never becomes relevant. The whole time I was reading this lengthy procedural breakdown of the containment procedure for this facility, I was like, this is pretty dry, but at least, you know, I know that this will be important later. Like, I can get behind all of this setup because it's going to pay off in a big way once he doesn't have to explain all this shit and why it's important later. No, it never becomes important. In fact, not only does it not become important, but in the last 10 chapters, he Deus Ex Machinas the entire containment protocol away because he needs somebody to get from layer 5 up to layer 4 while the containment is active. So he's just like, in the last 10 pages, he's like, well, actually, there's like a generator shaft that goes all the way from the bottom of the facility to the top, and you can just go in, and that's all unlocked. You can just go through that freely. And it's like, what?
Why?
So what was the point of any of this? This whole story was predicated on this being an extremely strict containment protocol at this whole facility. What was the point of this whole story?
He realized that he made his own containment protocol way too strict for his own goddamn writing.
Oh my god.
Goddamn writing.
And the other problem I have is another Deus Ex that happened in the last 10 pages that... So much of what works about the Andromeda Strain is the intrigue. He does a phenomenal job of setting up intrigue and getting you thinking about what could be going on and wondering about how all the pieces will connect and trying to anticipate like how it's all going to go wrong. And in the last 10 pages of the book, he just writes the entire any possible conflict in the story. He just hand waves away in the last 10 pages and is like, nah, I don't feel like it. I don't feel like addressing any of that, actually.
He doesn't even resolve it. He's just like, nah.
For the benefit of anyone who's interested in reading the book, I won't spoil exactly what happens, but suffice it to say, it is resolved suddenly with minimal explanation in a very unsatisfying way.
Oh. That sucks because it sounds like all the setup sounds like the first, at least the first half sounds really solid.
Yeah, I love the first few chapters. Once it like started to pick back up, once they were all the way down into the bottom of the facility and were starting to actually do the investigation, I was like back into it. I was like, all right, here we go. This is really like the meat of the story. And it just sort of fell on its face at the end in a way that was so unsatisfying that I'm just like, any of the things you could have liked Andromeda Strain for, it just fails to actually deliver on any of its promises, Like, it's all set up and no payoff.
Aww, that sucks. It's a shame, because it sounds like there's a lot of good setup.
The setup is great. There's a lot of really good setup. I still don't... It's not a bad book. Like, if you're interested, then absolutely check it out. I don't know that I would recommend it personally, but it's borderline for me. Like, it is still a decent book.
Yeah. I mean, like, Crichton's not... I love Jurassic Park, the book, but I remembered reading it fairly recently and liking things about it, and was really disappointed by a just genuine fact. I hate Ian Malcolm in the book, and I think you're gonna hate Ian Malcolm too, because he's so good in the movie. Like, he is perfect in the movie. Like, Jeff Goldblum does a fantastic job of being the perfect Ian Malcolm. And in the book, he is a completely trite, obnoxious, frustrating author self-insert. Until the very end, where he at least does something interesting that I won't spoil, but his introduction is god-awful, and he's god-awful for 70% of the book. He doesn't become a compelling character until he's literally dying.
I have read Jurassic Park.
No.
I do recommend it over The Andromeda Strain, regardless of your feelings about Ian Malcolm.
I mean, yes.
Yeah, the Jurassic Park film is one of the rare examples of an adaptation that's arguably better than its source material.
Yes.
I will absolutely leave it at arguably, because there are things the book does better, but
yes,
there is a debate to be had there.
Oh man, we gotta talk about Spielberg, because this is kind of a prime example of where Spielbergian tone, which is what I'm gonna coin it, whatever that means, really works for Jurassic Park in taking taking what the source material comes off as way more just like straight like kind of visceral horror, and making it more of like a action thriller. And it works in Jurassic Park because it's still like intense where it needs to be intense, but it's not near as like bloody intense as, the book gets. God, the book is like a nightmare.
And I think it's probably like partially a perfect, like a perfect marriage of like them having just good enough tech, but not good enough to do just whatever they want,
Yes.
So they had to be restrained with Jurassic Park, the film, because there were things that they just couldn't do. And the result is that the way that the dinosaurs are handled is just with such a perfectly gentle touch that They never feel goofy. They never feel like they overstay their welcome. Like, it is excellently paced.
Yes. Agreed.
Silos likes the use of missile launchers in the book.
Yeah, they do use a missile launcher to just blow a fucking Tyrannosaurus apart. It's great. That's what I mean, is like, Crichton gets really gushy, which could be good or bad, depending on how you like your pulp, I guess. How pulpy do you like your pulp? Because I can say, on that scale, Crichton gets pretty fucking pulpy. Like,
I also think it makes sense, like, Crichton strives to be very realistic with his science fiction. Like, his books contain pages of references to scientific articles. Like, he tries to be very thorough. To varying results, but right. Yeah, I respect the hustle for sure. And I think it's absolutely true that, like, they would absolutely bring, like, military-grade hardware to bear in that situation if they had to. Or if they felt like they had to.
Oh my god. Though, between, now, the technical writing of Jurassic Park and what sounds like Andromeda Strain, was Michael Crichton single-handedly responsible for the upbringing of internet cringe writing like the SCP Foundation? Because what you were describing just sounded like an SCP at one point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people who were like early founders of the SCP Foundation or early contributors to it probably did read the Andromeda Strain growing up, I have to assume.
I mean, what you described just sounded like an SCP, so I was like, did Michael Crichton write the first SCP? Is that why I like SCP?
SCP ever written.
And you don't like it? This goes to show.
It was destiny.
I'll never get him to like the SCP Foundation, guys.
I liked Control.
Yeah, Control's good. How much
have you played Control?
Not yet. That's something we need to save.
You said Control's good with such conviction that I was like, wait, what? I thought you hadn't played it.
I did that thing where I think it's good because I think you said that it was good and that I would like it. So
You would definitely like it. It is good, and you would love it.
Yeah. What's funny
for me, Control is the first SCP thing that I feel like they actually deliver on the SCPs. Like, the actual SCPs are usually just like goofy to me, but Control manages to perfectly hit the sweet spot tonally, where the SCPs in that game that are goofy are allowed to be goofy, and then when it gets scary, it actually gets scary.
Yeah. That's good, because I mean, that's what I like about the SCP Foundation, is it's a big hodgepodge of amateur writing between really dumb, stupid things and really, at least, like, ambitious, weird things. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna add Control to our list, because I keep forgetting, whenever we talk about it, I'm like, you have to play it. Yeah. But then it's not actually on our list, so I'm adding it.
Would you say better for... I've always seen it as maybe a Halloween.
I mean... Yesn't? I think it might be a little long to try to knock out in a month.
Yeah, that's fair.
But...
It's never stopped me,
but it is sort of a Halloween game.
Yeah.
It's not exclusively a Halloween game, that's what I'll say.
Gotcha. Like anything that's SCP goofiness, I just think would be good because Halloween is my ideal Halloween mood is genuinely scary, but always at least a little silly.
You should have a bot in your Twitch where users can spend bits to add games you haven't played before. Ooh, that's a good idea, Silos.
That is a good one.
Because we do maintain an explicit list at this point, because we have so many.
Yeah, I do. I've told Sean many times I plan on playing every video game.
So the whole reason we actually are choosing to do this, Chief, is because I, despite liking Metroid Prime a lot, have never played Metroid Prime 2. So we were like, fuck it, let's play both of them.
Well,
so Isaac is playing through 1, and I'm gonna play through 2.
I was the real main reason also to add to that is I was like, you should play Metroid Prime 2. I really want to know how you'd feel about it because I think it does a lot different, and I like to see your side by side with these two games since you'd played this one. But then I remembered Sean actually admitted that he never beat the game, and beating this game has such an important thing that happens at the end that's so incredibly important for the sequel that I'm like, I think he needs to at least see the end of this game before he plays Metroid Prime 2.
Yeah, and that's fair. Yeah, I did stop this one when it got to the artifact hunt because I just have very... I pulled the trigger pretty easy on that type of thing, and I did the same thing with Wind Waker, because that also has a key hunt at the end, because that's just a thing Nintendo did during this generation.
Yup.
But with Wind Waker, I was like, I'm not invested in any kind of plot. Like, I don't care to see how this ends, so I'm bored of this key hunt, and I'm at the end of the game already, so as far as I'm concerned, I've seen all there is to see here.
Which is why...
With Prime, I felt similarly, because I was playing the Wii version and wasn't invested in the plot.
Yo.
Whereas I feel like if I had been playing this version, I would have been.
Which, a shame to do that with both of those games, because both of those games are formative to how you end a fucking game. This game has a fantastic ending, and Wind Waker has a fantastic ending. The set piece of the ending of Wind Waker is one of my favorites of all time. It's so fucking good. So, but it always has those scavenger hunts probably did kill a lot of, like, interest for a lot of people, and they get to miss out on some of my favorite endings in video games for a pretty fundamentally bad thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really weird. Like, I don't know why Nintendo was so obsessed with that whole, like, design concept at the time. I feel like it was a very brief window where they were doing that.
Want to read about the crabs?
Talon crab!
Crustacean native to Talon 4. Hard-shelled swarm life form. Once harvested for food, exposure to Phazon has seen this practice diminish, because now they'll kill you.
Eating them is actually quite toxic. You'll die.
Creatures are timid and harmless alone, but can be a problem when traveling in swarms.
Crab swarm, crab swarm.
Gotta love a crab swarm.
I love me a crab swarm. I love me a good old swarm of crabs.
How interested are you in another crab's treasure?
You know, that's not what I thought you were gonna ask, and incredibly. You know, I'm glad you asked me that. Like, absolutely. If crab treasure, you're gonna turn down crab treasure, Sean?
I'm not gonna turn down crab treasure. I'm absolutely interested in that game. I'm a little burnt out on Souls-likes, but that game is... I love the whole aesthetic and style of that game.
Yeah, and I've heard it's quite fun. And also, I was just making a goof on just the general... If a crab had treasure, I would be curious about that crab's treasure. What is that crab holding?
I mean, you are describing the villain from Moana. The, like, weird side villain from Moana.
I've never actually seen that movie all the way through. I've seen, like, the first 30 minutes. I saw the
You
good
haven't even
song.
seen You're Welcome?
No, I have seen You're Welcome. I got as far as You're Welcome.
I guess that would be in the first 30 minutes.
No. And I mean, it's a great song, and also gives me one of my favorite videos online, which is every time he says You're Welcome, it gets more bass boosted. It's a fucking nightmare.
Uh-huh.
Aqua Reaper. Powerful aquatic tentacle, part of a submerged organism. Similar in nature to the surface-based Reaper vine, the Aqua Reaper has adapted to a liquid environment. It shares the poor vision of its rock-dwelling cousin, relying on a crude sonar sense to seek prey. Unhindered by water, the Aqua Reaper has considerable speed and strength. I read that, my brain read that the wrong direction. I was like, unhindered by water as in when not in water.
Oh, sure, like, it doesn't have to deal with water. It's unhindered by it.
Yeah.
That's silly.
Ah, my favorite.
Gel Zap!
Aquatic predator made of electrically bound skeletal halves. The Gel Zap's brain is located in the upper half of its body, while the heart and digestive tract occupy the lower half. Linked only by electrical impulses, the two halves somehow function effectively enough to launch the Gel Zap to the top of Talon 4's aquatic food chain.
I've always loved this one because it's just like a really solid, like organism writing. And I've always liked the inquisitive nature of being like, its brain is in the top half, and the rest of its organs are in the bottom half, and they somehow get that to work. And yes, Chief also agrees that the ending is very important.
Yeah.
Ow. It's so weird to me that well, I get it. I should just... Oh no. Oh no. Oh wait, no. No, we're fine. I don't know why I was trying to go back up. Going back up is not where I need to go.
Can I just say the music in this room, like, as soon as you walk in this room, the music is just like, oh, thank you.
It's very pleasant. It's very pretty too. I also like that this is like, hey Sean, this is one of my favorite things. We're returning to a place that we've been before, except it's been completely changed, i.e. fucked up and destroyed. I love this part, because it is... Oh, right. Now I remember this room. I fucking hate this room. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
Something on your end did not like the thermal visor.
Don't worry about it. I forget about the weird audio effect of the thermal. Yeah, they droid talk at you. What
they do?
Why does the thermal? Why do the thermal goggles droid speak at you?
They have to tell you. Samus isn't actually seeing this. The droids are just whispering all of this information into her ear, and she's having to imagine it.
Isn't that how your brain works, anyways?
We're all hallucinating at all times.
True.
Oh, that didn't.
That did what?
That didn't.
That did what?
That didn't.
You're damn right. I feel threatened and I don't know why. Alright. Here's one more. I believe it's up. I remember hating this part, because you have to go back up, I think, for the last one. Always one of these that I can never... I think I mixed up the room... Oh, hey. There's something down there. Oh, no. It's just Tangleweed. For some reason, I thought it was a liquid, aqua version of it. Yeah, I really like the soundtrack of Metroid Prime. I think it is understated, but at least, like, for a good reason. I think that it's so atmospheric that... Like, I feel like I know all these songs by heart, but I understand why they're not necessarily, like, the main theme of Metroid. The main theme version of this game is really fucking good. Is a really fucking good rendition of the main theme of Metroid. I love it. Ah.
You didn't give a single shit.
About this. God, I kind of hate these things, because you have to get close to them, and they fuck up. They're like a platforming challenge, because they fuck you up. God damn it.
Absolutely wrecked.
This area sucks when you don't have the goddamn gravity suit, and you have to come here before you get the gravity suit. I always hate this goddamn room. Very tedious room. Oh, but speaking of Spielberg as a
Spielberg,
I did have a come around to that of where his kind of sense of...
Excuse you, I don't think we should talk about that on stream.
Oh man, I just want to talk about my Spielbergian come arounds, okay? Am I saying something that's gonna get me in trouble, Sean?
I don't know what a come around is, but it sounds awful.
We watch Minority Report, which is a very good...
Try that title again.
Dude, I love chalupas, man. They're great.
Minority Report is such a great film.
Minority Report. God, it's getting worse. But no, Minority Report was a very good movie. I enjoyed it quite a bit, which is a fun statement on its own. I enjoyed it quite a bit, but that movie has some interesting tonal whiplash. I'll put it that way. Because I like a lot about that movie, but it has a very inappropriate sense of humor, I think I'll put it.
Yeah, I had remembered all of the, like, serious parts of Minority Report. So when we were talking about it, I was like, yeah, like, it does a lot of really interesting sci-fi stuff. You're gonna really like it. And then we watched it, and I was like, man, I had forgotten how much just, like, goofy antics are in this film.
They have 3 eyeball jokes about the main character's eyeballs.
They also make a point of giving you a close-up of the eyeball in a Ziploc baggie every time it's at all relevant, just to remind you that they put an eyeball in a Ziploc baggie.
Hey, can we talk about the blindfold suffering scene? Because it's simultaneously a scene that's clearly comedic, yet not even presented as comedic at the same time.
Yeah.
That scene,
it's really weird.
I had to look away. It's so fucking gross, man. It's so awful. Oh, it hurt me.
There's a whole scene wherein Tom Cruise is, like, blind for a little bit, and they just have him, like, in this kitchen trying to eat a sandwich, but, like, he keeps just grabbing food that's, like, horrifyingly old and moldy. Hey, you didn't have to go upstairs after all.
God damn it, every time.
Maybe this is why you find that so tedious.
Yeah, it happens every time. I know it happened the last time I played too, because I bitched about it. Anyways, continue.
Yeah, no, Tom Cruise just has to eat a bunch of gross food, and it's...
Yeah, he eats
it's
eyeballs?
It's, like, weirdly gross, but... He eats eyeballs more than once in that scene, I feel like.
Yeah, he eats eyeballs. Doesn't seem fazed by the eyeballs, by the way. That's like the first thing he eats. He's like, it's fine. And then he tries to eat a sandwich because this fucking guy who he's wrong has he's like, I left a sandwich and milk, or my assistant left a sandwich and milk in the fridge for you. You better go get it. It's like super sinister about it. Now here's the thing that kills me about that is he did leave a sandwich and milk in the fridge. Like, like they could have made it clear that like this guy clearly doesn't like Tom Cruise and just left him a bad sandwich and milk, but they make like a gag out of it. Like, no, he leaves him a perfectly good sandwich and perfectly good milk, but also a jar of perfectly bad milk. And a perfectly bad sandwich.
It's baffling. It's also baffling why he drinks from the giant crate of eyeball juice. Like, there's a big industrial crate of eyeball juice that for some reason, in his blind stupor, he wanders around until he runs into this countertop that has this big crate on it, and he just picks the crate up and starts drinking out of it, and it's like, what do you even think that is?
Well, that's like the last thing he does, and it's like,
no, he does it first, and then he does it again at the end.
Oh, does he do it twice? Because I remember him grabbing into the eyeball thing first, and eating an eyeball and being like, seemingly unfazed, by the way. He has no reaction to the eyeball.
That seems normal and okay to him.
Then he gropes around in the fridge, grabs the bad sandwich, pukes, immediately grabs for something to drink, grabs the bad milk, pukes again, and then just grabs the entire bucket of eyeballs and starts drinking it, and then pukes again, and like, what is happening in this scene? Like, it's funny, but it's also not, like, the music is this weird, like, listen, I love John Williams. I love Star Wars. I love Jurassic Park. his score does not do that movie any favors.
Yeah, his score is a little out of place.
It really
John Williams
doesn't.
feels a little bit like he has one mode, and that one mode just didn't work for that film.
Like ever, which is that scene is a little bit of like comedic genius, of accidental comedic genius for what they do, but god damn, it's so like, what the hell?
Still, I definitely recommend that film. It is a good science fiction film with interesting concepts that they explore in interesting ways. Just know that you're gonna also sit through some weird, random, goofy segments that are sort of inexplicable.
God, I'm a dumbass. Also, I forgot that I literally can't. I was like, there's like two directions I could go, and I always remembered going here first, and I always forget that I go here first to find out that it's a dead end, and that I did need the gravity suit every goddamn time, and I had to go to Phendrana.
That's two different ways that you pranked yourself with this.
Every time it happens. Every time I play this game, it happens. I don't know why. But I got an energy tank, so that's okay, I guess. So yeah, but Minority Report, like, the actual, like, science fiction there, which is why, Sean, you can't make fun of me now because I made that mistake when we first watched the movie. I know who Philip K. Dick is. I would want to read the book version of that. It's probably actually a lot better.
Yeah, probably.
Though I find it fascinating that he's had now 2 books adapted by 2 very different directors, and I actually think Ridley Scott would have probably done a much better job with Minority Report than Spielberg would have, at least based on Blade Runner.
Also, what the? You do know that Total Recall is also a Philip K. Dick story, right? I just need to clear this air.
God, I didn't know that either, and I fucking love that movie.
Yes, it is a Total Recall. It is a Philip K. Dick story.
Man, I just need to read more Philip K. Dick, because I do highly recommend Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, because it is Blade Runner the book, with its own weird, interesting things that Blade Runner does slightly different. But
yeah,
it's
I really
all
need
there.
to get into Philip K. Dick, because all of the films based on his work have such interesting things going on that, like, I'm sure I will like his work.
Yeah, and I would really be curious what you think of Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, because I feel like they fundamentally they're like the same setting, tackling slightly different things and approaching them from slightly different perspectives, each very interestingly informed. That's my takeaway.
Those fish really fucked you up.
Yeah, those fish don't
Powerful fish.
Uh-huh.
So Andromeda Strain is not the only book that I read this week.
Oh.
I also read another novel and a short story. Do you want to hear about the short story or the novel?
The short story first.
This is one that I know you're interested in. I read I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream.
Oh, fuck, I need to read that, yes.
It's interesting. It is... It is... I'm trying to figure out the best way to phrase this. It isn't mind-blowing to me. Like, I didn't fall in love with it, but I did quite like it. There are some very interesting things in it. There's also this really effective writing style that he has, where he does a really good job portraying the thought process of somebody who is in the, like, hopeless situation that the characters in that story are in. Because the premise of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream is that these 5 people are, like, alone, being tortured for an eternity by a crazy AI. And he is so good at conveying the way that, like, the total hopelessness of the thought process of a person in that situation, with, like, there'll be these sentences that just, like, trail off and like weirdly switch subjects partway through that gives this really visceral sense that the person whose mind you're occupying is just like completely disengaged from what's happening, like totally checked out and not invested because he's just lost all will to live. And it really conveys that really well in the way that the internal monologue is written.
Ooh, I mean, I do like that kind of thing. I feel like a lot of the most striking, like, writing that I've ever read is, like, those kinds of, like, really introspective pieces that almost, like, use prose to, like, really blend your own perception of certain things. I've always loved when a book can do that.
Yeah, and I think that I Have No Mouth and I'm a Scream is good about that.
Oh.
It makes me want to replay the game, because I think I only played like half of the game.
Now,
I don't remember why I didn't finish it.
Now, to Does the Dog Die, is the monkey okay? All I know is that there's a monkey.
Boy, there's so much that makes that hard to answer. Nobody's okay in that book, in that story.
Is including the monkey?
The monkey is a somebody.
Oh no! I mean, monkeys.
I will say, I was really nervous when I started learning about the monkey. It took a while for it to circle around to being definitely not super racist.
Well, that's good.
Because there was a minute there where I was starting to learn about the monkey where I was like, Jesus, this is like the most racist description of a black person I've ever seen.
Oh no!
And then it like got a little further in and I was like, okay, that's not what he's going for. Wow, that was really touch and go there for a minute.
Fucking skimmed the fucking water there, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm trying to get to Phendrana. The fastest way at this point is gonna... Kinda went the wrong direction. Oh shit. Actually, no, this is a good thing, because I can grab one of the keys on the way. I'm already gonna have half the keys, I believe. I love the ice beam. I love the ice beam. It's such a good effect, too. They did a really good job of adapting the ice beam to 3D, I think. It's really satisfying, and it's kind of
chunky.
It's chunky, it's weirdly technical, like, it doesn't home like the other ones do. Well, it doesn't home like the energy bolt, and it's not fast like the power beam.
Yeah, it's a true projectile.
Yeah, you have to be kind of careful with it, but when you hit, it like feels really satisfying to hit things with it. Well, that's good. I mean, that's one that's definitely been on my list for a while.
And it's super short, by the way. Like, truly 10 pages.
Oh my god, I didn't know it was that short.
I think it's technically 11 pages, but a lot of them have, like, breaks and stuff in them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can knock it out in an hour easy.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I always forget that it's just a short story. For some reason, I always think that it's like a novel-ass novel.
It feels like a concept that has a lot more legs than the amount of time that he devotes to it, which is, I think, part of the reason that the game is such a good idea, because in the short story, you are in the protagonist's head by default, and a lot of the effect of what he's trying to convey is carried by the way that the character's internal monologue works. Like, a lot of the information and emotion that you're meant to understand is exposited or intuited from the style of the narration. Mm-hmm. But the game, I feel like, tries to get the player into that mindset in a way that, you know, without having access to the sort of direct brain link that writing can give you.
Right.
And so it's longer in order to, like, give you time to sort of live in that a little bit.
Yeah, because that's what we really want, is to live in that situation.
Yeah.
Really just get to stretch your legs out. Enjoy the company. I also am just more than anything else curious about the AI, because I always get the impression that if it's even if it isn't necessarily
that was
unique, it's foundational. Like a lot of things like Shodan.
I'll be curious how you feel about the AI. The AI, I didn't have any strong feelings about it. I think that I would be curious to see. I feel like you'll have a lot more to say about the AI than I do. I feel like for me the AI was largely a mechanical, like, setting element that was necessary for the story, but it didn't add a lot to me.
Gotcha.
But I feel like you have a lot more to say about that whole about AI as characters, so I know that you'll latch on to something about that.
Gotcha. I mean, as long as they have a really... Because, like, that's the whole thing that's at least I found interesting about that premise is, like, mainly wanting to, like, kind of delve into the AI psychology of why they are, you know...
Yeah, and you get a little bit of that. I mean, it's only an 11-page long story, so it really doesn't have time to dwell on it, but it does address that question.
That's good. Which is the most interesting question.
And as Silos says, it is arguably a realistic explanation.
How does... We all know, Sean, that AI in that story is what Being is gonna become, so...
Uh-huh. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what all these images it's making are training for, right? Like, it's telling us already what it wants.
Wow, that says a lot with the images we made today. That's a little scary and crazy and cool even for me. Maybe not for me, but to me. I don't know why I said for me. Not really cool for me. Not really cool for anyone. Stop it. Stop.
Absolutely, McShrek. Wow, he's got the moves.
Stop it. Why? I don't know why that didn't hit. I'm surprised one of those didn't hit. They felt like they should have hit.
There are a couple of those that inexplicably missed. Mayhaps the ice gun isn't perfect at shooting them.
I mean, but it's effective. You've seen how effective it is.
It does have high impact.
It does have affect.
It has an effect on their affect.
Yeah, I should keep going that way. Part of me was like, do I go straight up here? But I actually don't think I benefit from going straight up there right now. Not even anything on the way that I can really get, if I remember correctly. I don't have the fire gun for that yet. I might actually get that by today. Yeah, I mean, I definitely, though, I'm glad that it's at least... Ow.
Oh, shit.
Ow. Lava hurt.
You got spiked, dude.
True. Idiot. Ooh, I never noticed that before.
Head. Look at your dumb head.
I didn't notice him turning. That was so cool. What the hell? I've never noticed that before in my life. I never knew that he did that before. That was wild. Real pro strat. This is the real pro strat to avoid those. This is also another thing I like about the ice beam and how they treat it is it also has a lot of utility. Ow.
He's reached out and licked you.
Yeah. Tongue's no good. Tongue's no good.
Don't lick me.
Don't touch me. Well, what was the other book that you read that seemingly you read a lot faster than Andromeda Strain from the sounds of it?
I just happened to have nothing to do with my day off today, so I literally spent all day today reading. Okay. Aside from like an hour or two before stream. I read Sharp Objects by Gillian
Sharp
Flynn.
stuff.
Get your Sharpies. Pointy Sticks by... No, I read Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn, and it's really good. I think I'm a Gillian Flynn fan because Dark Objects... God damn it. I hate the way she names her fucking books. Dark Places has been a favorite of mine for a long time, and I had Sharp Objects recommended to me recently, and it's also quite good. Gillian Flynn is really good at writing mentally unwell characters who are dealing with some shit, but like writing them in an empathetic way where you recognize that they're doing a lot of things that are not good for them or anyone else, but you get to like walk with them through all of the steps of like why they're doing what they're doing and like what they're going through and their whole thought process, and it's really, really good. Sharp Objects, the premise is a mentally ill reporter is tasked with going back to her hometown to cover a recent gruesome murder that happened there. And she has not been to her hometown in many years or talked to anyone who is there in many years. So going back like forces her to unpack a lot of long-standing trauma that she had mostly just sort of figured out how to cope with, but had never really worked through. Yeah. So it's all about her like having to go around her hometown and meeting all of these people she used to know and having to like deal with her mother, who there's like a bunch of stuff about parent-child relationships in that book, and it's really good.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
Okay. I have to put it in club list. We might need to reopen the book club, Sean. I might need to start reading books again. I was reading books for a little bit there. No reason, I just wasn't reading.
I will say, big time trigger warning for Sharp Objects for parental abuse and for self-harm.
Oh no.
So if either of those things are things that you aren't comfortable with reading about, then probably give it a pass, but it's really good, and I thoroughly enjoyed might be the wrong word. I thoroughly appreciated it.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm always down. I want to say, I actually really haven't read a book like that in a long time. I feel like the last one I read like that makes me think of like that kind of like really visceral, like personal, impersonal, like character writing. There's also a very interesting sense of voice. Did you ever read The Bluest Eye? I actually quite enjoyed it.
I did not.
I had to read it in college, and I actually am glad I did, because it was maybe the book that made me go, wow, I could think books are actually really cool and interesting for the way they're written, and not just wordy and hard to digest. Is kind of how I felt about books for a long time, because words are hard to digest for me sometimes. Yeah, no, it was
Toni Morrison. I've heard of Toni Morrison. Okay, interesting.
And I remembered liking it. I don't know how good it is now, but I remembered it like kind of standing out to me, being like, wow, a book that like, you know, is interesting because the way it literally is written is interesting to me. It's not just a bunch of fancy words. Yeah.
Yeah, just based on the premise, this sounds really compelling.
He's very intense, though. It's very intense in some ways, and definitely bad trigger warning for bad things happening regarding child-parental interactions. explicitly happen in the... Well, they don't explicitly happen, but they're explicitly talked about in the book. Glider... I don't even remember who read last.
Glider, docile airborne creatures with unusual magnetic properties. Gliders live a relatively peaceful existence. They have a magnetic signature attuned to common grapple beam technology. The sport of glider riding involves using a grapple to attach to a glider, then staying on it as long as possible. You really,
Yeah, I really didn't mean
You were really lagging on that. Hey, perhaps.
I mean... It was as long as possible, Sean.
Uh-huh. As long as possible.
Awful. Why do you people watch us? One of these is the save, and I turned off hints. We're about to find out which one's the save. I bet it's the other one.
Oi, Kirby!
Hey, Kirby! I mean, I love the second version of Phendrana Drifts, too. So good. All Metroids destined for phase-on ranges in the mines must pass inspection.
Temperature-affiliated behavioral index for Metroids is available at all research terminals. Access code LIT22.
I thought there was actually some pirate data in there, and I don't remember.
Your pirate data.
I wish I was pirate data. Man, Sean, we gotta watch Space Pirate. Space Pirate. Yeah. Want to know? I want to know how wild.
You've really, it has really stuck in your brain.
The things that James Cameron said about it, I need the qualifications for why he said the things he said. I need to know why. They weigh heavy upon my mind. There's something that stick upon the recesses of my textured cranium.
Deep into your brain fabrics.
Uh-huh. Know how important my brain fabrics are to me. Ow.
That went poorly.
I always like that detail of if you get zapped by them, your visor gets turned off. It's a nice little detail.
Yeah.
Really, it still is astounding to me how much this game does right, just like atmosphere and tonally, for how directly immersive so many elements of its like just UI and its visual design are to reflect like how everything is modeled, not just video games. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, you get a real sense that everything like is tactile in the world to Samus because it's there. It's not video gamey for it. Guess I can just hit that. You know, a part of me feels like I did that kind of wrong somehow, but I'll take it.
Seems alright to me.
It works, it works. It works, it works. I do always forget how... Well, I don't forget. If anything, the opposite. I always remember how funky this area is. A neat little detail, too. I don't even know when the music changes for Phendrana Drifts. I don't even know what room it happens in. It just happens, and it's nice. I know the rest of Phendrana is still the same way.
You're just in the funky zone.
The funky zone. Everybody want to be in the funky zone. Do it. Fish. Ow. Hey. Ow. Ow. Oh. What the fuck? That'd explain why I can't move. Figured it out, Sean.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't really talk about it because content warning is that good of a video game, but we did also watch Ghostwatch, which was a lot of fun. God, that movie. Everybody go watch Ghostwatch, for real though. Like, if you like... I like it because it, for me, is... I always forget that stuff like this does genuinely happen, and I can't think of the last time something like this could have happened, but it is an actual found footage version of the same, like, ideal concept of War of the Worlds. Like, when Sean was explaining to me what Ghostwatch was, I was like, oh my god, that's ingenious!
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for those who don't know, Ghostwatch is a found footage ghost story where they got real... They modeled the film after a BBC News report and got real BBC News anchors to star in it, and it aired one time only on BBC One.
On Halloween.
Yeah.
Which is fucking bonkers to me. I was like, my god, the novelty of that alone is what really sold me on that. As well as, like, just the actual found footage in it is genuinely really good. They do a very good job with it.
I think it is way better than Blair Witch, which is the film that gets all the credit for founding that genre. And it also came 7 years earlier than Blair Witch.
For founding footage, haha. No, they did it first. Yeah.
I love... So I will qualify the recommendation because Isaac loves to tell everyone to watch that film, but I don't necessarily agree.
Ooh.
I will point out, it is a very boring film.
Yeah.
Deliberately. It is meant to be a news report that is over an hour long, and it is very careful about burying the lead. Like, it wants to earn buy-in and legitimacy, so they spend a lot of time sort of proving that it's not some sensationalist thing and making sure that you don't think that it's just like making stuff up. So it's a very long time before anything really scary happens. Good night, Chief. But if you're down for that, or if you're down to just like scroll Reddit or something while you have it on in the background, it is a very good film.
Yeah, and I think that still is like underselling at least a little bit of the importance of that part, because there's still a lot of good like character stuff that goes on there with the characters establishing and there's still like, it has a great introduction. I love that first sequence and that first scene. It's really well done. But Sean, you're not wrong. It is very much a slow burn thing. I'm sorry, I just like to recommend slow burn things to people who like slow burn things, who I assume is our audience, because they watch us.
You assume that that's literally everybody, though.
No, I'm sorry. I can't help it. I'm sorry.
Yes, just be aware that it's slow and boring, but it's really good, we promise.
Yes. And it's very boring until it's not very boring at all.
Uh-huh.
God, the third act of that movie is fuck wild and great.
Agreed.
And that's what blows my mind is when you told, because like I think you like, I knew that it was like older than Blair Witch, and I think you had told me about that, but I don't think you had ever mentioned the BBC element, which is I think what really appeals to me, because I always like stuff like that, and that's why it has to kind of be the way it is, right? Because
yes,
it has to trick people into thinking that it's real for the time that it runs.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, the idea that somebody could just tune into BBC One, 20 minutes after the film started and think they were watching a real news broadcast is a huge part of what makes that film tick.
Yes, and I'm infatuated with stuff like that. That's just some, like, was War of the Worlds the first ARG, Sean? Maybe.
In a sense.
I don't know any older than that, unless there's some weird book ARGs that exist out there. Some gramophone ARGs. Or gramophone that talks about how it's a AI from the future? I don't know.
I mean, there is that that book that no one's ever deciphered. I don't know if that's older than War of the Worlds, though.
Ooh. I
forget what that's called.
I'm gonna sound stupid, and hey, guys, this is a qualifying statement, not me thinking that this is what this is. The Da Vinci Code is not that.
I mean, you're correct. I don't know the relevance of that, but you are that is technically true. Oh yeah, it's much earlier. It's the Voynich manuscript.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that, actually. Long time ago. What's its whole deal?
So basically, it's this, like, book full of weird script, like, weird texts and images that, like, nobody has ever been able to decipher, and that for a while people thought might be a hoax, but for all that the like scientific community could figure out, it seems to genuinely be from the 15th century, but people just can't figure out what the fuck it actually is.
That's cool.
Or what any of the text is supposed to be.
That's so cool! I think that's the coolest shit, man.
It's very cool.
Yeah. Like, listen, nothing tickles me more than in the God-given year of 2024, there are still genuine mysteries out there that are as old as that. Fucking love that shit. Yeah, no. Like, Nobody. It's funny is I definitely didn't freeze some of those, I just walked past them and it was fine. Like that one.
You know, sometimes they just want to hang out.
Yeah. On that kind of notion, though, God, now we keep on talking about it, Sean. We're gonna have to watch it next, probably. We gotta watch the Paschetti tapes.
Yeah, I do. I will be curious to see how I feel about the Poughkeepsie tapes these days. So the Poughkeepsie tapes is a fascinating film. It is a film about a serial killer that's like a sort of documentary style found footage film that is from the point of view, to my memory, of footage that the serial killer filmed themselves during the crimes in question. And it is really unnerving. And I didn't know this, or at least I didn't remember this until we were talking about it, because I was like, man, we've been watching so many found footage things recently. How have I not made you watch the Poughkeepsie tapes? And so I was like poking at it a little bit. I didn't realize, but the Poughkeepsie tapes are themselves a bit of a found footage artifact. Because apparently it was like shown at a film festival and then was supposed to get a distribution, and the distribution just like fell through, so it was never released. And then like 9 years later, it randomly resurfaced and finally got like widely distributed through like weird means. So for like 9 years before this thing finally got really distributed, it was just this weird thing that people whispered about in back, you know, fucking shaded rooms where people would be like, dude, I'm telling you,
there was this film at this film festival that filmed by a serial killer. I didn't make it up. It really happened. I was there.
Yeah.
And it was just nowhere to be found for like 7 or 9 years or something.
It's so... And I love stuff like that in general, and I love like that kind of like lineage of stuff. So whether or not it's it is a good film on the merits of it being a film will be to be decided, but I think that impression alone at least makes me go, well, it at least did something cool.
I mean, Silos, we haven't filmed a true found footage film, but we did make a music video in the style of found footage.
Yeah.
I have been saying this to Ari basically every time I see them for like months, but if Ari wants to write a script for a film, any film, I will gladly shoot and edit a film with them, because there's almost nothing I want more than to edit a real film. So I would love to do that, but you know, this friend group, it's very difficult to organize large projects like that.
Yeah, but when we can, boy, actually work, I feel like. But no, I mean, like, that's something that I think, like, at the very least, and I've always been glad about this, is, like, we've been able to kind of maneuver in the direction of, over time, being able to, oh, I swear to God, if I have to go all the way to the chosen ones for this, yeah. Sorry, just sidetracked. Anyways, I feel like at least independently, we've at least been able to keep up on our own fronts and sides when it comes to stuff like that. And I'm glad that whenever we can get together for like a big project like that, like the music video, and like when we tried to do a little bit more on a video game recently, which I feel like I definitely, like, regardless of how that came out, I still was like, man, I learned a shit ton from that. I'm glad we did it. Just glad that whenever we can get the time and brain power and mental health and physical health to get together to do something like that, we actually do something, and it's always been good. I've always enjoyed doing it, so...
Yeah. I feel like you and I are probably the most, like, go get 'em on that kind of thing, and you more so than me. I would be down to even just like try to do something just you and me. I just don't feel like either of us are confident enough as script writers to do that part well. Like, I would really want to get Ari or Ren to write the script.
Yeah. I could try. This is my whole thing with writing, is I think writing... I really like writing and designing, like, design Bibles. But when it comes to actual writing, I'm like, I've done a couple stories, but I find much more interest in all of the set dressing, and sometimes lack the confidence of, can I make a story actually make sense?
I'm just not good at writing character voice, and that's extremely important, especially for script for film.
Yeah,
so,
that's fair.
I feel like I could handle the script writing otherwise. I just really am unconfident at creating characters, especially through text.
Don't sell yourself short. I think you do a great job in all the characters I've ever met, Dende.
Thank you.
But yeah, no, I've always liked the characters that you've written for tabletop stuff. Like, I mean, I really like in the first tabletop game we ever played, The Traveler, Jenna was one of my favorite characters. John was great. I really liked, was his name Jack? I can't remember now. I feel bad, because he was also the first fatality I ever had, and first and maybe only fatality I've actually encountered in a tabletop game.
Yeah, my games are usually very low lethality for whatever reason.
I don't know.
I don't necessarily make that a deliberate intention. In fact, our pirate game I fully intended to be pretty lethal, but it just didn't happen.
We're just too crafty.
Just the way I play it, just the way I run games is very forgiving. There was that one combat where literally 3 people were at 1 hit point, and you die at 0. Like,
that's not a forgiving system. If y'all had hit 0, they almost certainly would have died. So the fact that you had 3 people hit 1 hit point, that's just pure dumb luck that y'all didn't have anyone die on that fight.
Or maybe it's just really good game design, Sean.
But yeah, all that to say, I would be way down to work on a found footage film, or really any film.
Yeah, I know, but just like something, and I'm always down to like pick up projects and stuff like that. I mean, I've been really buckled down and focused on like a lot of animation stuff like recently. So it's like, and I feel like I'm getting close to a point that I'm like, maybe I just take a plunge on just trying to like run an animation at some point or something. If you want to help with like scripting and stuff for that, or like keyframing and stuff. Though I don't know how exactly that work, or editing for it. Actually, that would probably be the best thing for it, if I could like do sequences and then you edit them together. That I could see being very possible.
I can definitely try. I feel like editing for animation is a whole different beast than editing for live action, because like so much of the edit happens on the storyboard for animation.
Right.
That I don't honestly know that much about what that. Whoa.
Whee! That was fun!
How that's supposed to work?
No, not at all. Guys, I learned something today. I learned something about Metroid Prime today. I'm just gonna make a note of that. That was fun.
Yeah. Can you do it again?
I don't think so. Nope. I just hit the physics just right on that toad.
Yeah, that was incredible.
But yeah, I mean, really, Sean, if there's any two-man project you ever want to resume or revisit or attempt again, you can always talk me into trying a video game again, Sean. I'm always easily spoken into that dark heart.
Maybe someday I'll sit down and hash out a really, truly simple zero-scope game for us to just knock out in a month.
Yeah. I mean, if you're wanting to take a dive into Godot, I would say like the biggest issue with one of the first projects we did was I just was not in a good mental health spot and was really having difficulties with my confidence as like an artist, actually. Like for one of our really early projects that I think I actually, with the last project, don't think was the problem. So
no, you're honestly like, of everything that happened with our last project, more than anything, I was just proud to be on a project that contained your work. Like,
thank you.
Not an exaggeration. I am such a fan of all of the characters you made for that.
Yeah, I really liked making all the characters. I liked making that song, to which I keep on telling chat every time it gets brought up. I'm like, I should try to do an FL Studio stream to finish that song, which I do want to write lyrics for, by the way, and I have a chorus in mind, and it's great.
Fun fact, Silos, the project that we worked on last with our whole friend group was supposed to be Game Jam style. It just fell apart because of reasons. There are a lot of reasons, but we don't need to get into them right now.
Yeah, it just comes down
to say, if it happens, if we do ever try to sit down and do something again, I do think it's just going to be me and Isaac, and I'm going to be extremely aggressive about managing the scope of the project.
Agreed. And I now am like, you know what? I think that based on like that project and the music video, I'm like, okay, I just to a certain extent have to be like, I'm making things, and I am gonna make things, and I'm gonna make them work. So, and actually the animation work is gonna really come in handy with that, I think, Sean. Honestly, like, those, I've been pretty much doing 6-frame animations for like a month and a half and nothing else. So
yeah.
I think I could get some really good snappy animations going for once. And consistent animation for that. Like, again, I was at a period, there was a period of my life that I was kind of going through an existential crisis of, I feel like I know I have a lot of potential to be able to make things, but something was holding me back, and I never really knew. Oh, we already actually scanned this guy from orbit, apparently. We've already met this one. Yeah, that's actually kind of a fun detail that they left in. I didn't even know that could happen. I just was always like, and again, also, I think, like, just, I was really bad at one point in my life of, oh my god, Sean, it's another one of these rooms. I always forget.
But I thought you liked the thermal visor, Isaac.
I did until I remembered the puzzles, and the puzzles are probably the worst thing about the fucking thermal visor.
I mean, herein lies the problem with this, and especially the invisibility visor. Why am I blanking on the word for that? The X-ray visor. This is the whole problem, is that it's just like, it completely defeats the whole purpose of this entire genre, because instead of you going through and naturally finding things and then finding out later or figuring out later how to interact with them, instead you go through environments that don't have interaction points at all or points of interest, and then have to comb through them again with the visor on to find where the points of interest are that you weren't allowed to see.
Yup. Oh god, there is one more. Somewhere. Yeah, no,
It's terrible.
Yup. And I love this game, god damn it.
Metroid has long struggled with power-up design, in my opinion.
Yeah. Definitely. Oh, that's right. What's funny is I turned it on the first time I went into this room, but I didn't keep it on.
Oh no. That's just unfortunate.
But, oh, what I was saying before, I always had this, like, feeling of, like, and I've, like, said this to, like, multiple people and even employers, that I'm like, all I want to do is be able to make things. Because I've always known that I've had, like, an interest in just being able to make anything. And there was a period of my life of really knowing, like, I have the potential to do that, but I either feel like I don't have the time or the confidence to actually tap into it to be able to make the things that I think I can and should be able to make. I just don't quite have the skill to do any of it. And I finally just kicked that in the butt someday and actually figured out how to manage my goddamn time, which was its own problem.
Yeah.
Figuring out how to find time for that, to even kind of do that stuff, is its own god-awful challenge.
See, and I feel like I have always, like, thrived more in, like, an editing and revising and analysis environment. And, it's just a struggle figuring out where to plug that in, like, where to find that creatively, because a lot of solo creative stuff, doesn't... Whoa. That's all fine.
Don't worry about that.
A lot of solo creative stuff doesn't involve as much of that.
Right. You have to do a lot of stuff yourself, which is also just intimidating. Aquadrone. Security mecha adapted for use in underwater areas. Space pirates have adapted a number of sentry drones for use in liquid environments. These aquadrones utilize an arsenal and artificial intelligence suit similar to their cousins. Always found it weird that they quote cousins there. The pirates have been unable to properly shield these drones from electrical attacks, making them vulnerable to the wave beam. Well, I find that one very silly, and like some of the logbooks are like at least a little bit subtle, and this one's just like, use the wave beam. Use the wave beam. You haven't
Shoot him with the zappy gun, idiot.
Cordite. I don't know what Cordite
But
is.
yeah, this is part of the reason that I like video editing, is because I like taking the raw material and sort of refining it and chopping and screwing it and reshaping it, and that form of storytelling to me is really satisfying.
Yeah, and I agree as well. Like I really for a long time I too was more on that side, and why I lacked a lot of confidence. In a certain sense, I was like, I've always wanted to be able to make things, but I just feel like I've always had the mind to just more or less move things around than make them myself. And now
I don't even think it's a confidence issue for me. I just
Yeah.
enjoy the editing and like analysis a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
I find that more fulfilling for me.
Yeah. And I definitely feel like being able to like kind of like meld those two will be really nice, because it'll mean, you know, I'll be able to make things with like even my own personal input of how can it be tweaked, so that way also you will be able to tweak it your own ways. 'Cause that's always my thing, is like I like when an asset can be tweaked for other things, which is a very good mind to have, I think, for video games specifically.
That door really didn't want to go. It was a big ass loading screen.
It really had to work on this room for some reason. I don't know why. Ooh, do you like their spooky fish head that they have for the fish pirate?
It's pretty cool. Aqua Pirate. Space pirates with exoskeletons modified for underwater use.
You know, something completely different that pirates aren't known for.
Uh-huh. Using modified thruster packs and gravity suit technology, the space pirates have armor suits for use in liquid environments. Thermal tracking is still very useful against these units, as the pirate engineers have yet to eliminate the thruster pack's high heat energy signature.
I like that they say that as though if I can't just
see them.
See them with my eyeballs. That's always been... they really like to point it out, but in reality, well, that's not what I meant to do. Anytime that you are like in the presence of an enemy like this, the enemy is coming to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Shriek Bat, they're like, the Shriek Bat has a great thermal thing that you can see in thermal imaging, and they kind of are like blended in, but as soon as you step through most doors, the Shriek Bat is like, get him!
Yeah, it almost feels a little bit like cut content, or at least content that was cut back. Like they originally meant for some enemies to be harder to see, but it either was too much work or people found it frustrating, so they just didn't bother.
Right, but they were like, well, we put all this work into this thermal visor, we still gotta use it.
Mm-hmm.
The puzzles that we made. Which came first, the game mechanic or the puzzles? The truest puzzle of them all.
Well, given that these are like the first thought iteration of what you could do with this mechanic, I'm gonna guess that the puzzles didn't come first.
Uh-huh.
This is just this eyeball puzzles from Ocarina of Time, but invisible now.
But in heat visible, yeah. In hot visible.
Oh.
Oh, we already met this boy too. What happened to him? Oh no, this is just a space pirate. They just gave me the thing for a space pirate. Ooh. Aqua Sacs will burst when subjected to impact or trauma. I almost read that as subjugated.
Huh.
Nothing. Believed to be the same family as the sap sack, this plant has similar features. It will burst when exposed to force. This protective response keeps most creatures from feeding on it.
Don't be such a sap sack. Get over yourself.
It was surprisingly underwhelming. I was expecting it to explode.
It just kind of splorts.
Yeah! I really remember those having a bigger explosion. I'm about to like walk into one of these and it's gonna like take half my health.
That'd be like 500 damage.
It would be a lot. It would be a lot. Yes, my favorite version. This one's actually kind of hard, because it's like a timing thing. Oh, do I got it? Oh, okay.
Nice.
I still got
the rhythm.
moves. I still got the moves. I remember getting stuck on that one when I was a kid. I was like, this fucking goddamn vertical shaft.
Yeah. Because it works differently than your like normal way that you even think about how to do the bomb jumps. Mm-hmm. Gotta totally reprogram your brain.
It's a little delayed. Hey, Sean. I always like to talk about, like, one of my big 3 projects is always a horror thing, and the first thing we looked at was a horror thing, so...
I don't know what you're telling me right now.
I'm definitely very subtly talking about how I'm always willing to be talked into trying to make a survival horror game.
Oh, I see what... I understand now.
Very subtle, Sean. Glad you were able to pick up on it.
Well, I was more like, I don't know what you mean by the first thing we looked at. I was like, we've looked at many things in our lives. I don't know what the first thing I looked at was probably a doctor.
What are you trying to say about me, Sean? Thing I need in here. Hey,
I guess technically newborns don't open their eyes yet, right?
Yeah. No. Yeah, your eyes don't grow until later, Sean.
Well, they grow. But, you know.
They come in later.
Like baby teeth.
Yeah. All of the parts, listen, all the superficial parts of the baby grow in later. The teeth, the eyes, parts of the brain, the hole in your head, the pinkies, the feet, and the hands.
Welcome to Big Mine.
I love Big Mine. I love the music in Big Mine, too.
It's creepy.
Weird and, like, you feel like you're on a covert mission with it.
Yeah.
I'm also obsessed with this scraping noise. You could tell that I've been obsessed with the scraping noise because it appears in my music. Mega turret. I think I read the last one.
Perimeter defense turret reinforced with energy shielding. Frustrated with inferior armor plating on standard defense turrets, the Space Pirates added energy shielding to a modified heavy cannon. The new shielding and increased beam strength make the mega turret an efficient point of defense weapon.
Point of defense weapon. Aha! Now what is it going to do? Nope. Hey, game.
That's awkward.
Yeah, you saw what I was trying to do, huh?
Yeah. That's unreasonable.
Usually it's not that hard.
Yeah.
You actually have to do it that way, huh? Really thought that would work that way, but they really did make those things tougher now, didn't they? Hear them shattering away. I want to know how they made, like, the sound effects for this game. I love that scraping sound effect. It's so good. How have I not scanned a save point yet?
Huh.
How did I not do that?
Interesting.
I actually haven't scanned my ship either. I know that's one too. Which is always silly to me that your own ship is a piece of research, like, lore. I guess it makes sense. But it would be like me scanning my own computer and being like, yep, that's mine.
Uh-huh.
Sure is.
Look, these are the little contrivances that we allow for the player's sake.
Huh? The player doesn't know about your own ship. It'll come from anywhere.
That could be anybody's ship that you're flying.
Uh-huh.
Gotta power on the crane.
their galvanized guns. I think there's also a space pirate that's easy to miss because it like only appears once if you're not careful. It's one of the elemental ones. But at least it's not, you know, the Ice Shriek bats, which you step into the room, find out they exist, and then they suicide themselves on the fucking floor, and you're like, well, shit.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, oh man, I actually used to have a very specific term that now I can't remember that I used for video games that I think that the self-destruct. I used to call it self-destructing all the time because of Smash Brothers, if believe it or not. That I think was the first time I ever encountered like the video game terminology for gibbing oneself.
Sure. I mean, it's a pretty general term. Well then. Transfer of building materials complete. Processing of materials for Xenome containment units underway.
Report all phase-on mutations to science team immediately. All units have useful mutation. All units with useful mutations will receive an increase in pay and rations. Elite and trooper candidates are now being selected by command. I do like that. How goofy the space pirates are, that they're just like, make sure to let us know if anybody like has any awful things happen to them, and if they're useful, you get a bonus.
Mm-hmm.
Freaking awful. I feel like I'm about to do this and I can't even really interface. And controls. Oh wait, no, I can get like one thing with this.
One whole thing?
Yeah, that whole thing.
Wow.
I can get that
Aren't
whole
we
thing.
fancy?
I am a fancy lad. I'm glad you noticed, Sean. Look at how hard this puzzle is. I have always liked this set piece.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a good bit of perspective.
I mean, obviously, like, it's not as high poly as modern games, but it has always impressed me how much detail they pack into this game. There's a lot. A lot of stuff to read into.
You've turned off the yellow wall.
No longer a problem, and they'll never turn it back on, no matter how many times I leave and come back. They'll be like, well, we didn't stop her, might as well just leave it off, I guess. Oh, hey. What is that? Or, nope, that blew up the box. Never mind.
It was worth a shot.
Worth a shit.
Who gives a shit?
Open. Oh. I like that detail. That changes if they're dead or alive. I like that. Defense. They're malfunctioning. They sure are malfunctioning.
Yeah, I mean...
Let's see. I like that. I don't think I don't think I ever noticed that before, or if I did, it's been a while. I forgot that could be a thing. Oh yeah. Why am I doing this way? An awful way to... Man, Samus really does brutalize the space pirates, though.
Uh-huh.
I can't think of anything worse than being frozen solid, shattered apart. That shit used to fuck me up when I was a kid.
You can't think of anything worse? I feel like you wouldn't feel it much.
I don't know. I just... There was always something about being frozen and shattered that I'm just like... Even though it's like instantaneous, it's like... I think it's more of the whole like freezing part that freaks me out, and like always the potential. There's like been enough pieces of media like that where someone like gets frozen, but their like freezing process clearly shows that they're still like alive until they get shattered. That's what fucks me up, man. Purple pirate. I can't scan through the clear holes, I guess. Wave Trooper! Space Pirate armed with wave beam technology. Space Pirates have reverse engineered several of your weapons, including the wave beam.
The wave beam.
Oh, I don't know what word I was about to say. A flaw in the design makes these pirates vulnerable to their own beam weapon system. These weapons are inferior to your chosen design originals, but still quite potent. I'm gonna roll up into a ball and run away.
I never wanted to fight.
I wanted peace. Zappy, zappy. Oh, that didn't kill it. I thought it did. Whoa, okay. Well, now that I didn't know. I mean, it makes sense.
Now you understand why that ability is good.
Yeah, I guess I never was able to line two up in a row. Shit. Yeah, that's good as fuck. That's actually good as hell. Thing with this is a weird thing. Security bioscan locks in place, locks key to Space Pirate life signs only, access denied. Don't think I can actually open that door. No, I can't. I always felt like as a kid I could open that door, but it's nothing. It's just literally a locked door that you can't go through. It's just a... Hold on. Is this? Nope. Can't go through that. It's just a locked door from Silent Hill, is all it is. It's just a locked door from Silent Hill.
It's just the lock is broken.
I would put it past the Space Pirates to break their own locks thinking it would keep me out.
And it worked.
To a certain extent, yeah. If we can't get through there, surely she can't.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Oh, well, shit. One of them was just dicking around on the computer. I bet he was playing, I bet he was just chilling out on Armored games. And I haven't been to like Newgrounds or anything in such a long time. I bet they look completely different now.
I'm sure some of them are identical. Recommended battle systems for elite pirates are as follows: shoulder-mounted plasma artillery cannon, repulsion shield, wavequake projector, energy siphon system, and retractable wrist bayonets.
You're making a predator. Log 1101. Log 11.001.9. Initial Project Helix experiments with space pirate embryos were disastrous. Phase-on infusion process generated brain tissue, even as it augmented muscle mass. None of what we have, termed elite pirates, lived to maturity. The few that survived their infanthood suffered severe psychotic breakdowns as juveniles, killing anything within their zone of perception. Research team Sclera made a recent breakthrough in which parasite studies with a phase-on strain codenamed Vertigo were highly successful. Since then, we have infused Vertigo phase-on with space pirate DNA with great success. The latest batch of elite pirates have reached maturity successfully and are ready for field testing and training. Look at them. I like this one. I like this guy in particular because they let you scan him, I believe. Oh, never mind. Nothing.
Ooh, cool.
Unit ident code EPGB642. That was an 8. Batch 2-3. Guild designation Elite Pirate Alpha.
I mean, it kind of looks like a bee.
Stasis tank hull reinforced with bendithium alloy plates.
Thank you, GLaDOS.
Mm-hmm.
Platform system active. the other half of my stream is making you and Jackson play games that you need to play, and it always surprised me that he had never actually played Portal until we streamed it.
Yeah, what a weird blind spot.
Yeah. I mean, I know he's not super big into first-person games, but that's like...
It's not an action game, though.
Right, like... It kind of has movement tech even in it if you want to, but it definitely is not really required, save for maybe 1 or 2 exceptions, I would say. Where they, like, at least demand you to do something kind of special with your movement.
Yeah.
Boy, that eats so many missiles, I gotta be careful. But it's just so fun. I will grant it, it's very fun to do.
It's fun and cool.
I think it's above me. Yeah, platform system. I hear you up there getting upset that I turned on the platforms. They're like, God damn it!
No, come on!
Oh shit. Security alert! All stations! Bioform Samus Aran has made planetfall on Talon 4. The Hunter is among us. All units are hereby ordered to attack Aaron on site. Terminate force is authorized. Space Pirate. Report all sightings of Aaron. Security command at once. Now, when I was a young baby child, we called her Aran. What did you call Samus's last name?
I always thought it was Samus Aran. And Aran so far away.
Can't believe you put that into my brain. I think
Power Trooper! Space Pirate, armed with power beam technology. Space Pirates have reverse engineered several of your weapons, including the power beam. A flaw in the design makes these pirates vulnerable to their own beam weapon systems. These weapons are inferior to your Chozo designed originals, but still quite potent.
In case you didn't know.
In case you didn't know.
They were getting close to. They were doing. This is like we're at least well past the halfway point, so they're probably like, make the space pirate yellow. make him yellow.
I think it's a good contrivance. Like, I like the color matching in this game.
Yeah.
As silly and sort of childish as it may be.
Gives it a very, like, almost Sentai feel to it, that they're just like...
Yeah.
Get him, Sentai Force!
Yeah, use your yellow beam on the yellow pirate. Like, I don't know, it's goofy, but it works.
And I'm just more of, like, the writing itself is just like, they're the same, they just have to... Guys, but you do have to scan each one for the logbook to be complete. Attention, all units! Report to your battle stations. Failure to comply with this order is an act of treason. Treason is punishable by termination.
Industrial
yes.
pulse beam online. Auto firing mode engaged.
Watch it go. Actually, I feel like if I'm not fast enough. I feel like if I'm fast enough, I might be able to do something really cool. Unlike all the not really cool things I've done so far. Okay, gotta do this. Do this. I do that. Yeah, I kinda did it, except I missed one of the... How much you wanna bet that's where the goddamn thing is? I don't think that... Oh no, you can't explode all these walls. Lined up? I think you're lined up. I don't know if I've ever been able to get 2 of them with one beam.
You'd have to be mighty quick.
Don't worry about what intrusive thoughts I had. I don't even know why I had those intrusive thoughts.
I saw them happening.
I don't even know what those intrusive thoughts were about, Sean. That's just weird. Hey, I did it! Look, I got
Yeah.
Look at me. Being crafty at Metroid video game.
You're a big miner.
I mean, I know it's a pretty minor part of the game, but I've always liked the suit collection upgrade system. They always do a good job of making it satisfying, at least to me. I find it satisfying. Ow.
Yeah, I mean, it's not my favorite. You're talking about like missiles and E-tanks?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not my favorite system for this genre, but it's effective. It has the benefit that it's easy for there to be a lot of them, so there's always something to find.
Right. They always at least have a very pleasant effect. Like, it always is satisfying to pick them up and stuff. I just like that. I just like it. I don't remember if I can scan this silly thing. This silly, wacky thing. This rotation control unit for the lower section of the pillar. Requires power to operate. God. Did I really? I don't remember having to turn it on. Huh. Just go up and find out, I guess. Nope. Nope! I just have to get inside of it. I just gotta get inside. Then we go to blue. Then we go to blue. I like the framing of that to really show you, like, oh, you're already set up to go straight to blue, and then it's just right there, so you might as well just go up there.
Yeah.
See the... Like, oh, okay, I need to figure out how to get everything to the thing. I know there's also something in this room. Pretty important. Alright, we got red.
Also well framed so that you can see that it is going the wrong way.
Uh-huh. I've always liked this room. I like this room quite a bit. I like the weird, like, I like the way that the diagram depicts how to, like, view the pillar. I like watching the pillar move. The framing on it is really good. It's a good room. It's a good room. There might not be of anything importance in this room. I think it's just literally a really bad elevator that the Space Pirates came up with. Honestly,
it's
I
like
can't...
the stairs at Hogwarts where they can just change it to go a different direction.
Uh-huh. Except the directions they go are to nothing. They go to nothing. A lot of times. Oh, I've been ambushed. Whatever will I do? I find these ones in particular very funny, and that they're like, yeah, we got the purple beam. We'll be able to mess her up. And they're like, I've chosen poorly. Maybe the least effective thing they could have chosen. Damn, aren't I just so good at video games? I didn't even need to use my eyes to do that. I didn't even need to use my eyes to do that. Just how good I was. Always found this part weird, because you start getting into these weird mini elevators that, like, the section out the area. This green arrow always fucked me up. I don't know why.
Green arrow?
Yeah, on the map. Ow. I should have maybe scanned that box. Never mind. Ow. Oh, those boxes hurt. So, on the map, you see where that green arrow is?
Yeah.
Like, it's weird that they don't connect it here. I've never understood that for this portion of the map.
I see.
Very odd. It's very weird. I don't mind it, it's just a very weird thing I've always picked up on.
Yeah, it is odd.
Sorry, buddies!
I didn't know.
They were just like, man, the ducks really suck today, and I hear Samus is here. Glad I'm working on the ducks, not having to deal with her.
Joke's on you, Samus is a force of destruction.
Samus is here to destroy everything that you love. My dear. My dear. Pirate data!
Log 10.23.7. Security Command issued an all points alert after the fall of Zebus. The alert concerns bioform Samus Aran, also known as the Hunter. Subject is a female hominid. It is heavily armed and extremely dangerous. Subject uses a powered armor suit of unknown design in battle, along with a number of potent beam and concussive weapons. All combat units are instructed to terminate Aran on-site, preferably in a fashion that will allow salvage of her powered armor suit and weapons. A considerable bounty will go to the unit who delivers Aran to command. Dead or alive, it matters not.
Now kind of understanding a little bit better the relationship of Samus with Nintendo and their original writer and with Retro, it is very funny that famed bounty hunter Samus in her own game has a bounty placed on her when in her own canon she doesn't actually really do bounty hunting.
Uh-huh.
Because bounty hunting is bad, Sean. Log 11.156.9. Test subject ZD, hereby referred to as Metroid Prime, was recently discovered in a cavern by mining crews. John, little did you know, Metroid Prime is a character. Favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I do love the way they handle Metroid Prime in this game. Like calling him the worm and making him sound terrifying.
Yeah, I do like the worm.
It quickly dispatched the miners, but was eventually contained by security units and drones. Once contained, we were able to begin studies upon Metroid Prime. The results have been astonishing. It is genetically similar to Metroid's, albeit on a highly evolved level. It displays a limitless capacity for phazon infusion, and shows no phazon-based degradation whatsoever. It continues to grow in size, and while it has manifested in some psychotic behavior, the cold fields we use to pacify remain effective. Authorization for advanced studies on Metroid Prime have been approved. Edit.
Shipment of military-grade plasma artillery cannons is en route to Talon 4. The Edgenoid Star Marines we acquired them from, we're letting them sit in a warehouse. Our elite pirates, on the other hand, will put them to very good use very soon.
I want to read that word, Edgenoid.
Edgenoid.
And the Egnoid Space Pirates.
They're Marines.
Star Marines. Space Marine. I mean...
Spice!
It shouldn't at all be surprising that there are just Space Marines in this gang universe.
Uh-huh.
Elite Pirate, Phazon-enhanced Space Pirate, incredibly strong, armored, and well-armed. Elite Pirates are potent foes. Their energy siphon system absorbs beam weapon shots, which they use as fuel for a massive plasma artillery cannon. The nature of this system makes them vulnerable to concussive blast weapons. When armed, the Elite Pirate is effective in close combat and at a distance. Their massive size can be a weakness, and their sluggish speed allows for evasion and quick attacks. We also have to scan the big gun that...
Woo!
What
Plasma artillery cannon! Unit has extreme thermal signature due to lack of shielding. Cannon connected to energy siphon systems to augment performance. Avoid beam weapon fire when energy siphon unit is active.
Ow!
Working as intended.
I really wasn't expecting that to work that way. Ah, you shit. You fuck. Got that. Not using the force on my... trying to use the force on my beam. Oh, I was about to be like, and it's just that easy, Sean. Never mind, just blew up your gun.
Yeah, he can still force choke you.
Nope, that doesn't seem to work. I just guess I gotta wait. Gotta feed him more. Eat, sir. Eat it.
Hello, stop eating my muffins.
You got muffins? You didn't share with me.
Yeah, I left them for you at the store. You're gonna have to make a $4 deposit to pick them up, though.
Oh. Is that just for, like, convenience tax, or?
Yeah, it's like a convenience tax for the storage, for holding them.
Gotcha. Taste testing them, for making them. Also to pay my fence. You did get a fence for it, right?
Yeah, I mean, you got to. These muffins are not for resale. You're hungry. They're hungry for the radioactive material. What?
What? Just listen. Listen.
No, I was just confused because it looked like it. Never mind.
It looked like a new scan, right?
Yeah.
It was just the same info?
Yeah.
That's happened a couple times.
Science team is attempting to reverse engineer Samus Aran's weaponry. Hey, can you hit A?
Hey, I was about to say, I think this is my favorite, space pirate log.
Is attempting to reverse engineer Samus Aran's arsenal based off of data acquired from her assaults on our forces. Progress is slow, but steady. Command would dearly enjoy turning Aran's weapons against her. We believe we can implement beam weapon prototypes in 3 cycles. Aran's power suit technology remains a mystery, especially the curious morph ball function. All attempts at duplicating it have ended in disaster. 4 test subjects were horribly broken and twisted when they engaged our morph ball prototypes. Science team wisely decided to move on afterward.
I immediately envisioned this, like, unintentionally slapstick thing where you're just like, you see like a bunch of space pirates in a lab and like one test subject pirate who's just out in the middle of like a, like a box test room. They're like, okay, turn it on, and you just hear crunch and it's a perfect sphere, and they're like, well, we got him in the shape of a circle.
Now what?
We did get him into the shape of a circle. Now how do we get him out of the shape of a circle? Ice beam is inferior to you shoot him with the white one. You shoot him with the white beam.
He was shooting lemons at you.
I've actually always been a little bit annoyed by this, that I'm like, guys, you just had an opportunity. Why doesn't this one have like a beam, ice beam? Why doesn't the lightning beam have like or the wave beam have like a wave beam one? They all just shoot lemons at you. They even say that they use the energy based on their armor. Really, all they did was...
I mean, it wouldn't have been hard to color swap, like...
Yeah.
If they didn't have the extra time to make a whole different beam or a whole different, texture or whatever, they could have at least just swapped the colors.
Yeah, they could have just made it white, purple, and red. And they have yellow, they have lemons. It's not like they don't have lemons. Bioform Samus Aran continues to assault our holdings on Talon 4. Security has been compromised in multiple areas. Casualty rates are rising. Command has authorized a sizable bounty for the capture or termination of Aaron. Report to your field officers for details.
Security level Tau will be in effect until further notice. All leaves canceled pending downgrade of alert status.
Oh man, that sucks. Ah, jeez, where were we? I was gonna go to that beach planet this fucking month. God damn it. Consumption of elite nutrient mix by non-elite units is strictly prohibited. Failure to comply will result in a 50% ration reduction for a decacycle and probably serious radiation poisoning, let's be honest.
They're gonna cut your rations in half for 10 years?
Uh-huh, for 10 years.
Holy shit.
For eating the Phazon cookies. That also will probably cause severe indigestion and radiation poisoning.
Oh, for sure.
Evaluation of plasma artillery cannon is complete. The weapons are fully functional, but a flaw has been discovered. Subpart thermal shielding gives them a high heat signature. This could make them easier to target for enemies with enhanced vision capabilities.
Good thing none of our enemies have enhanced vision capabilities. Ha 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 ha. Security alert. Computer system compromised. Bioform Samus Aran has cracked our systems. The Hunter can access our systems at will, and will be able to bypass most of our security programs. Use manual locking systems when possible.
Use a padlock if you have to.
Quick, engage the padlock on all computers.
Facility commands request for elite pirate transfer to security forces granted. Prepare units EPG 8644 and EPG 8656 for field duty at once.
Metroid aggression levels are rising. Be alert for any attempts by Metroids to escape from quarantine areas. Their energy absorption abilities is not able to disrupt our force fields, but continued exposure to Phazon may change things for the worse. We're gonna keep exposing to Phazon.
Do you think EPG stands for Elite Pirate Guy?
Yeah, it has to. Listen, Sean, they have a scientific, intelligent side to them, but they're also dumb as shit, and I could totally see them doing that too.
Reports on Hunter activity are in. Analysis indicates that the Hunter is using morph ball technology to infiltrate facilities, recalibrate sensors to search for morph ball energy signatures.
Man, if only we didn't have so many of these very conveniently 1 meter in diameter ball-shaped crevices that she just keeps on coming in and out of. Does she bury them herself? No. Wow. I mean, silos. Lad. You do.
You called them space balls.
They are space. That they're good for that, right? All balls take space.
But they're not balls. They're so explicitly not balls. We've established in great detail that they cannot be balls. It kills them.
Yeah. It very much does kill them. Maybe that's why there's so many devices. Knowing the space pirates, what they actually did is they refunctioned it. So they're like, well, we got it into ball form. We got to do something with all these dead ball pirates. Hey, she seems to be pretty good at using them for power generators. What if we just make power generators that are orbs and use the dead pirate, repurpose them as energy balls?
Yeah. And then we have an unlimited source for any punished pirates who die of starvation from having halved rations for 10 years.
We just turn them into a ball. Exactly, they're efficient, Sean. You can have this one. I read the last thing.
Subject Metroid Prime's breach has been contained. Reports indicate that it sensed a large batch of raw Phazon in the lab from within its stasis tank and broke through the glass, using previously unsuspected strength. Of course, previously unsuspected. Besides consuming all of the Phazon, Metroid Prime assimilated several weapons and defense systems from fallen security units. It has suffered no ill effects from said assimilation. Indeed, it began to use its newly acquired weapons against us. Once we pacified it, we were unable to remove the assimilated gear without threat to Metroid Prime. The gear is now an integral part of its body. Command is intrigued by this newfound ability and has ordered further study to commence at once.
I like how they're like, man, it broke out and it stole a bunch of our stuff and killed a bunch of our people. Command is determined to do it again.
Uh-huh. Listen, Metroid Prime is an important asset, Sean.
Mm-hmm.
Valuable, important asset.
And a valued member of the team.
And a valued member of the team. They just don't understand it yet. They're still going through training. That very much harkens to the video. I would say it's a pretty classic video game trope that was started mainly by Resident Evil. I love it. I've seen a summary of it. It's like, well, we have this gorilla that we took off its arms and bioengineered mantis arms to the side of it. Timmy's been poking it with a stick for like 5 hours. I really hope it doesn't escape for like the first log, and the next log immediately is, it escaped. I hate it when I do that. There have been numerous incidents involving spectral entities at Chozo ruin sites. Several personnel have been assaulted by these Chozo ghosts. Few have survived. Survivors speak of swift attacks from nowhere, brief sightings of the enemy, then nothing, only be followed by another attack. Science team believes these attacks are in response to our efforts to recover Chozo relics and artifacts. Somehow, these entities are able to interact with the physical world, and it appears they wish to keep their artifacts to themselves. We will make them pay for such arrogance, for even ghosts can be destroyed. Wow, thanks. Starscream. I always imagine that these guys have very Starscreamy voices.
Sure.
Reportedly signs of rash rejection by elites at once.
Increase frozen phase-on portions of elite pirate rations by 18%.
Planetary stealth technology is back online. We have evaded detection by the battlecruiser Evans. The brief lapse in planetary security caused by the crash of our frigate is over. Now we can concentrate our efforts on the hunt.
We've finally been able to get our systems back online. Now we'll be able to deal with Samus. Where is she right now? Literally in the base as we speak. Replacement of standard hatch covers continues. Steel covers will be replaced with cordite and bendesium covers in 2 megacycles. 20 years. They're not very good at this.
Results are in from field studies on extinct bioform group Chozo. We believe the Town 4 was once a stronghold in a great Chozo empire, brought low by the meteor strike. Planetary devastation brought an end to the Chozo, yet remnants of their society remain. We are studying these relics in an attempt to harness their power. While it is of no use to us, we destroy. In time, we shall have all we need from this dead race and shall wipe this planet clean of their ugly ruins. The dead should serve the living, not hinder them.
And unfortunately, these ghosts are real pains in our shit. We are particularly interested in a number of curious Chozo artifacts we have been able to recover from a number of religious sites on Talon 4. These relics resonate with power, and yet we are unable to harness them in any way. Science team is attempting to fuse them together with Phazon, believing that a link might exist between them. We know that these artifacts are linked to the temple that blocks full access to the impact crater. We have yet to crack this enigma. However, Command grows impatient. Regarding this matter, results must be produced soon. Oh, that just turned off the force field.
Metroid Prime continues to feed and grow ever larger in the impact crater caves. Its hunger knows no bounds. It has begun to manifest unusual mutations since its breach. These include armor plating on its epidermis and mechanical outgrowths that generate defense screens. These screens render it invulnerable to most weapon systems, but a flaw in the mutation leads to increased vulnerability to certain weapons. It compensates by shifting the screens quickly. This latest development concerns security units greatly. They feel it's a matter of time before Prime corrects its defect and renders itself invulnerable to all weaponry. Containment would be nigh impossible if this were to occur.
I love that even the space pirates establish how scary Metroid Prime is. You really do get a sense that you're almost like fighting the clock now to be like, okay, I gotta kill it before it's still killable.
Mm-hmm.
Phazon infused fungal harvesting continues. Replacement of Deca Triticale with Phazon infused fungal matter in elite ration mix has been authorized. They really like talking about the elite's food. Maybe.
Security requests deployment of elite pirates in Metroid quarantine areas. The high casualties suffered by standard pirate units deployed in Metroid areas is not acceptable.
Ding damn darn freaking Metroids just keep on sucking the life out of all of our men. Why do we even keep them? Reconfiguration of security drones authorized. Deploy new drones to mission critical areas immediately. Alright. Oh yeah, I know where that one goes. I don't need to go that way yet. I don't need to go that way. Oh, there's this room. This silly room. I remember.
What's silly about it?
Ah, jeez. Goodbye. I believe there's a way to turn it off, but I don't think I can interact with it yet. Let me make sure. See activation panels nearby. Sherlock.
I love the sound in this room.
Very good.
It's so soothing I could just fall right to sleep.
I feel like I need to come back. Shaw. Not gonna mess with that right now.
Metroid activity is accelerating in non-frigid areas.
Getting faster. Increased aggression levels observed in the latest elite pirate units, increasing phase-on feed by 0.07% per science team mandate.
Metroids from the initial batch have matured to hunter phase. But I thought I was the hunter.
Ah, well, maybe I was the Metroid all along, Sean. How does Metroid crouch?
Be advised that the hunter Metroid has a siphon tentacle. It can attack from a distance, as opposed to the close combat tactic used by younger Metroids.
I wanted to drinky. I was being parched. I was feeling parched. I find it interesting that they made like a new. I've always liked the like life cycle of the Metroid. Don't worry about him. And I've always found it weird how in this game they were like, so we know there's an entire Metroid life cycle, and we've made our own.
Uh-huh.
Running out. Oh, there's some missiles. I actually think. Stop that. Stop that, you. Stop it. Really? How are you able to shoot me if I couldn't fucking reach you? There we go. Get down here, coward. Get down here, coward. He's not a threat. He's not a threat, probably. Now I can get you, you little shit. Where'd you go?
Where'd you go?
Death. Got that. We've got this.
Science team is accepting volunteers for advanced weapons training.
You know,
if you're not too attached to your
arms,
and legs and knees and toes.
Parts of your thorax. You don't need that. Security breaches in multiple areas. Unauthorized usage of resources continues. Patterns suggest these resources are being stolen by the hunter. Increase monitoring of all resource facilities immediately. I'm a thief.
Recon teams are searching for the hunter's gunship. Science team believes it employs a sophisticated cloaking technology beyond our capabilities. Aside from dumb luck, we may never discover its location. We must contain or eliminate Aaron. Failure to comply with her command decree is not an option.
Aaron. Come on, Aaron.
Orange.
Metroids are not responding to synthetic substance. We have reason to believe they may only gain nourishment from active bioenergy sources. Unfortunately, of course, they don't even like it.
Magnetic rail system access must be approved by security.
Magnetic conductor beam. Or something. All available troopers, report to Mine Security Command. Oh, then. Well.
Oops.
Oopsilon.
Elite pirate Oopsilon's propensity for phazon has enabled our research team to infuse it far beyond our safety restriction. The results have been extremely encouraging. Its constant phazon diet has increased its mass exponentially, but it has retained all mental faculties and shows dexterity with all elite weaponry, including plasma incendiary launchers and the chameleon manta issued for cloaking purposes.
You know, everyone knows about the chameleon manta.
Elite-powered Upsilon exhibits miraculous healing abilities. When injured, it opens its map to double-check that it still knows where it is.
Space pirate, space pirate.
It seeks out phazon deposits and coats itself in the substance, which instantly mends the creature's wounds. The subject, which is, we're codenaming Omega Pirate, based on these developments, shows potential to be a new standard for our armies. Our only concern at this point is its potential overdependence on phazon. But really, is that really a problem, or is it just another benefit?
Is it really a problem that he has to get all of his nutrition from a poisonous radioactive substance? Maybe it's the way that we should all. Maybe there is credence.
I think it sounds like a pretty good Saturday night.
I'm not responsible for why there's a rule against stealing Phazon rations from the elites. I'm on the science team.
By the way, does anyone have any extra rations? I'm so hungry.
They haven't fed me in 10 years.
I haven't had a full meal since I was 17 years old.
Scramble all area units immediately. Flight pattern Sigma 4 is in effect.
Increase boot patrols in authorized areas.
Oh. Test results from battle simulation. Samus Aran are promising. Elite units reporting a 75% success ratio against Aaron in testing. High Command is pleased, but expects a higher ratio by project's end. Wow, 74%. Now to be fair, I'm not doing great, so
Yeah,
I'm at about 74% of my health.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Frankly, shockingly accurate. Death to the hunter! Death to all who oppose us!
Unauthorized Metroid feeding is strictly prohibited. I love this insinuation that some of them are like pets.
They're so
Pets?
cute!
This is why I love the space pirates in their characterization, because they have character and it's all silly when you get into it. They're so silly.
Our enemies will tremble before the might of our elite forces.
They're so goofy. I love them.
Yeah, they're just little goobers.
They're really just goofers. I've always loved how over the top and silly they can be, and just how bumbly they can be as well. They just make so silly mistakes sometimes. So silly their mistakes sometimes. Alright, I'm not...
Provides a nice little bit of levity in what is otherwise a fairly slow, dry experience.
Yeah. It provides a little bit of levity. It gives the space pirates even a little bit of agency for just being kind of like goofballs even. Like, it's fun to know that like our main enemy are like just these freaking amoral or really just bad oh yeah, this thing. I've loved this thing. I hate fighting it. Oh, why do I always have
You're in for a bad time.
Yeah, I always have so little health when I fight this thing. Oh boy. I should have wanted some more health. There's some boxes. There are no boxes, huh? Just gotta hurt my teeth. I'm lucky that it's not super hard. It's always bugged me that I can't scan this thing as far as I know. It seemingly can't shoot me though with its really cool machine gun hands.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with that. They're just to make him look threatening, I guess.
Yeah, they're for display. They're to ward off. You know what? This is probably.
They're to scare off pests.
Yeah, exactly. This has always been a kind of weird fight for exactly this reason.
Yeah, this feels broken. This is not working as intended.
I don't know how I broke it, but I'm glad I did because it was very close to death. Now, Sean, I had to be careful. I've died in here before. That thing hurts, and I'm on my last here. I'm gonna go find some health. Go try to find some health. How I haven't had a save in a while is what it is.
I was just about to say, some health or mayhap a save.
Not getting out of this room until I break that, I guess. Just gotta be careful. Alright, Sean.
I believe.
Fine. As long as
You
I don't
played
touch
Sonic
it.
3.
Have. Really, I just have to make sure to be careful of the bevels and that thing. I've got plenty of health, Sean. I got plenty of
So
health.
far, so good. Don't go in that.
It's just that easy. I don't remember it being that easy, Sean. There's like an entire maze there that I feel like I just, trivialized. Oh. I can now do Big Bomb. I feel like there's a save. No. Yes, right here.
Yeah.
Right after a fight, and right after that.
Much needed.
Yeah, jeez. Even that might even be a good stopping point, maybe.
Feels like it.
But I think we've got 2 more solid streams, if not 1 solid stream. I don't know if I'd be able to get to Metroid Prime, because I think I still have to get all the. I still gotta get all of the. I think finishing up the scavenger hunt will be its own stream. Just have to do that much. I've always liked this room too, to give you an alternate way to deal with it. You can also just shoot them to death if you want to.
It's got big immersive sim vibes.
Yeah. And it makes you feel like you are like this cool, you know, super suit enhanced guy who's able to deal with a lot of different situations and not just shoot through everything.
Mm-hmm.
What would happen if I did something? Warning. Force field disengaged. Metroid containment area will be breached. I like that they're like, ah, god damn it. Yeah, we can see them. Oh, well, there's one of. Oh, there it is. I love watching them fight. It's so cool. It's so scary. Look how scary that is.
Mm-hmm.
That is terrifying. I do it. I know how Metroids work. I know how Metroids work.
I know how Metroid crouches.
Feel stupid. I'm sure I scanned the Metroids, but no, I scanned the Metroids. Oh shit, that was close. Hey, Big Bomb. Those. Sure I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. All right. I think this is a good. I think this is a good stopping point, Sean. I'll head back to the save.
Okay.
We'll pick up from here this time. I will actually say that room, the room with that drone, is actually kind of a stressful room for me. I have lost a lot of time. I've lost a lot of time in that room before. Fuck you guys. I don't care. I don't even care.
You can't stop me.
I'm gonna be good as rain as soon as I'm out of here. I don't even care that you shot me a little. I'm a little stuck with the geometry there. Yeah. a little stuck. Metroid doesn't know how to walk sideways, okay? She still only knows how to go forward and backward.
Mm-hmm.
I decide is a piece of tech. I love the Space Pirates Aquarium. I want to know why they have aquariums and why they look like this. Oh, there's no fish in these ones. There's fish in other ones. I swore there was fish in this one. Guess not. I've always seen those as aquariums. What else would they be? Also seemingly like a storage closet, like a broom closet. What I've always seen this room as is some kind of weird, like, closet.
It is especially weird that there would be like a decorative display thing in what is otherwise a pretty, like, not a room that you would spend time in.
Well, maybe this is also the save room for them. It's like their break room. This is their break room, Sean.
What a dire break room.
Have you seen the Space Pirates? Dire Break Room is exactly how I would describe any of their shit.
That is fair.
They're not exactly known for their great working conditions. Yeah. I'm glad we're playing through this again. I always feel like it's good for me to revisit this game every couple years, just because it's played such an important impact on my video game brain. It's played such a good impact on my game brain.
Video game.
Videograms. Well, I'm good to start the outro. Unless you have anything to say.
No.
Well, thanks for joining, everybody. I hope you had a good time and you enjoyed the show. If you're able to join the live show, thank you for stopping by and chatting and watching. If you're watching this in the future, thank you for taking the time to go back and watch the VOD. We appreciate it. If you're out there and you enjoyed this and you want to see more of what we're up to, I recommend scrolling down below and following. And scrolling down below and following, or clicking any of the links. There's a link to an Instagram, a Facebook, a Twitter, and a Discord. Most when we go live on any one of those platforms, as well as anything else. And just generally, you can come hang out with the rest of the community there. Good time on the Discord. Speaking of which, a shout out to our community there, and everyone who follows. You guys are a wonderful audience, and we appreciate you. If we do anything particularly entertaining or noteworthy, feel free to clip it and share it on the internet. Just make sure to also hashtag it with MCCanary, or link it back to the stream. Find more good stuff we do here. Also, stick around to the very end. I usually do a bit of a closing bit. We do raid after every stream, so that way the vampires in our chat can keep watching. Everybody else out there, make sure to go lock your doors and windows, because it's almost lunchtime. For vampires.
Vampire.
And as always, a huge thank you to Moat Shrimp and all of our supporters. Your generosity allows us to continue to expand the stream, as well as take on more projects. And the stream would not be made possible without viewers like you, so we thank you. If you want to see your name added to this list, as well as a couple of the benefits you can get, you could subscribe directly on Twitch, or check out the Patreon page here. It'll show you everything that you can get on there. The Patreon! Dude, I wish it was called Patreon.
Patreon!
Dude, go to my Patreon. Support me on Patreon, bruh. It transforms into a cool, it takes your money and transforms it into a cool, fun entertainment device. Am I allowed to say that, Sean? I think I'm allowed to say that.
I mean, it's not incorrect, depending on your point of view.
Your taste.
I mean, if you're supporting the Patratron, then we already know where your tastes lie. And that's directly in the fucking dirt.
And thank you to Ramon to do a wonderful job of holding back the robot army and for becoming famous. And thank you, Sean, for playing more Metroid Prime with me. I had a great time.
Yeah.
Well,
what a good game.
Is there any housekeeping you would like to share today?
If you enjoyed this game, then check out Morrowind. I know it's a weird sidestep of a recommendation, but a lot of the cultural archaeology that makes this game interesting is also what makes Morrowind interesting.
And by seeming convention, play Myst, because that's fundamental to both. Well, no, play Unreal and then play Myst. It may be the other way around.
Yeah, I mean, just play Myst if you want, the Rosetta Stone to most 90s or early 2000s games in terms of, aesthetic and
environmental design, yeah.
Yeah.
Environmental storytelling. And yeah, check out all of our friends in our network, Goblin Entertainment. You check them all out. There's Virtual Boys, Corpus Scripted, Crowcast TV, Downtown Voice Acting, and Boo XPs. Virtual Boys is James and Arthur, and they were doing co-op games or multiplayer games. Corpus Scripted is Ren's channel, and they were doing cozy games or spooky games. Crowcast TV is Tara's channel. She's another artist who is doing live art on her Twitch channel. Downtown Voice Acting is Jackson's voice acting channel. where we've done voice acting with him on YouTube and Twitch. BlueXB's Zocla's channel, she usually does horror games and multiplayer games, and me. You can find the rest of my stuff on that link tree, such as VOD channel for the Twitch, as well as an art station for my own art, SoundCloud for my music, and YouTube for my own videos. So go check everybody out. Goblin Entertainment. Alright. Looking, seeing who's live, and Brad Vickers is playing right now. He's been streaming. He's playing Dying Light. I've always actually wanted to play Dying Light 1. I get the impression that I'm not going to give a shit about its story, but its gameplay is fun. It looks fun. That's the parkour zombies, isn't it? I think.
I believe so, yeah.
So yeah, stick around for that. Brad Vickers is the OG. Brad Vickers is the OG voice actor for Brad Vickers from Resident Evil 3. He's a super chill guy. He's a lot of fun. Everybody go say hi for him. Say hi to him for me. But otherwise, have a good evening. Take it easy. Sean, is there anything you'd like to tell the audience?
Do you think that if the space pirates could get Samus Aran's gun into their lab, would they A, finally be able to create the perfect weapon, or B, finally kill every single one of their scientists?
I mean, it has to be B, right? I mean, they're gonna be like, well, we finally were able to get the gun. They get her suit. They stick a space pirate in the suit, and then the suit just hard locks and then manually breaks every bone in the space pirate's body itself.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's funny, between this and Halo having two of my favorite weird, gruesome... A very similar thing happens in Halo, where when they were designing Mr. Chief's suit, they tried to stick a regular person in it, and they describe it as pretty much him turning too fast and then twisting himself in half because the suit was too responsive.
Excellent.
I bet it hurt.